For this video, we were reacting to a breakdown of a roundtable debate, heated conversation that happened with a couple names. I don't know everybody. I do see the consciously dude. I do see Clifton Powell. Met him in Vegas. He's pretty cool. We're going to break down this video. I'm going to give my perspective, politics around black men and women.
So this the thing, we done came together, we done been brought together. We got Sister Song, you know, Sister Song is the homies, and they are doing some revolutionary work. I mean, 2025, let's just be real, has been full of some weird shit, it's been just some strange shit this year, you know, and black people being attacked left and right, our stories, our educational institutions, our safe places.
Real quick, I want to say, I think this conversation is, they're going to have a lot of people that don't really like to go against the grain. They usually like to bring that into conversations like this because they go viral. And it makes the average black man just look so weak. You know, when it comes to the real riders, the real grassroots, the real who gonna really say the truth, like you niggas is goofy, you women are goofy. They don't want niggas like that because it goes against the system and what they want the black man to be, which is a Democrat supporter, which is a weak man that let his woman run the show. That's what they want. And for him to support homosexuality and abortion and everything else. But I'm already knowing that's probably going to be the majority of the people that's on this table. But let's keep going. By the way, I do have to pause consistently because this is probably copyrighted material. I don't know it. I don't want to risk it. So I'm going to be pausing throughout this conversation just so they don't take my stream down because, again, this is going to be likely copyrighted material. So I can't let it play longer than like 20, 30 seconds before they'll take the stream down or it's, classified as reused copyright. Let's keep going.
And our power. And that's my thing, you know. I got an organization called Build Power. So I'm really about power. And it's from the legacy of the Black Power movement. And I don't think you can get any closer to power than the person who birthed it.
Right. Yes.
The black woman, right?
Yes.
A lot of the time it's black men that stand in the way of it, right? That get in the way of, what we're supposed to be empowering, what we're supposed to be collaborating with. And
so it's the black man that's stepping in the way. So you, again, y'all see where I was going with this, and I was completely correct that I already knew that was going to be the case because that's the case. And usually in these conversations where it turns into this black woman is God, the black woman is the leader, the black woman is in charge. So the black man is the reason why the black community, our relations, I guess, aren't the best right now when it comes to men and women. And the black woman birthed the power. I don't even know what that means. And then he says about us coming together. What does that mean? Like, you need to elaborate on that. So again, I already predicted this and what this is going to happen. And I'm not saying that it's the black woman's fault, but what I'm saying is to sit there and just say, yeah, a lot of times it's the black man. A lot of these men are very weak. A lot of these men are very soft. A lot of these men are not leaders. A lot of these niggas are just bums in real life. And just because you're not in the streets or just because you're not poor, that don't make you a bum. You could be a bum up here because they follow liberal white women. And unfortunately, the majority of black people in America are liberal white women. Yeah, I said it. The majority of black people in America are liberal white women. Let's keep going. And if you know, you know.
What we're supposed to be empowering, what we're supposed to be collaborating with. And so when we're thinking about things like, Sister Song is steeped in reproductive justice. And when we talk about reproductive justice, it's the human right for bodily autonomy. Now, here's the thing. I get into all the academic terms and then I get.
So mutilating your babies. And by the way, if you look in history, over 20 million black babies have been aborted since, I think, don't quote me on that, I think it's the 1960s. Over 20 million black babies have been aborted since then. So that being the case, that would mean that would be a literal genocide. There are more people that died in a Holocaust than people of children that have been aborted. So that's what he wants to push. And again, like clockwork, because I already know, because I already know how these conversations usually go, is some weak man that like to show his palms. Let's keep going.
Get confused. So we gonna get into it for real about what this means to us, what the human right to bodily autonomy, the human right to have kids, to not have kids, to parent kids in a healthy environment, to set up that environment, and what goes into that actually means to us. And I want to make sure that, the way we talking about it, other people can understand it, because I know for a fact, if people came to me however many years ago and was like, hey, what you think about reproductive justice? I would have a very confused look on my face. And I'm like, I don't know exactly what that means and how we engage with it. it, but everybody here comes from a different perspective, a different life, a different experiences.
Who the hell is this? Who is this?
And we want to bring that to this conversation. So I know that there's no way to get there without the empowerment of Black women and centering Black women in that power talk, in that power struggle, in that power strategy, in that movement, in our behavior. And
I think the big issue about this is, and notice what he's saying, centering Black women as the power, as the leader, as the one that's the force. The issue with the average black man in America is the average black man doesn't want to do his job. And the average Black man, because he's raised by his single mother, I was raised by my single mother as well. No, my father was not a deadbeat. I was raised by my single mother as well, meaning being in the household with her. And I noticed I had to unlearn a lot of stuff as I got older because I was in that environment. And when you around that single mother mentality, when you around that basically your whole life, you start to take on the characteristics and the behavior of a woman. So that's why so many Black men today are very weak and effeminate, because they don't want to do their job. They don't want to be leaders. They don't want to be providers. They don't want to be protectors, and they don't want to be the man. And that's why you have so many Black men like him that are so weak, and they want to deliver their job to the woman. They want to be the one that's like they want to be the one that's being provided for. They want to be the one that's like not handling business. They don't want to be in charge of their relationship. Not even just in relationships. We're just talking about just life in general. They don't want to be men because they've never been taught how to be a man, or they never unlearned all of the stuff that they were supposed to unlearn when they was in their early 20s, as most men should do if they do come from that single parent household. You know why? Because they probably still live around their mama. They probably still use their mama for every little thing. Like everything is mommy. They've never had to experience real pressure in life. They've never had to go through nothing. They don't travel. They don't get out. They don't do anything else besides be around mommy. And that becomes an issue because mothers are natural coddlers. They're natural nurturers. And sometimes they don't let the boys be a man. They can't raise him to be a man, but they can definitely stop him from being a man based on just being too much of a nurturer. Just being there too much. Like, you need to let him branch out and be his own man. And then we got too many weak ass Black men that like to raise they sons specifically, or just children specifically, from a distance, so they think like, oh yeah, picking them up and taking them to go get some Burger King is enough. Like, no, I would actually argue that I think more men need to fight for custody of their children, because you can't say on one end, that, you want the children to be with the mother. And then when the child gets older, you blaming that child for everything that he don't have because you would have did something, but you wasn't in his life when he was younger, and for him to take on the skills that he was supposed to take on. So we got a lot of that too. It's more than being in your child's life than just taking them into a basketball game and then bringing them back home. But it's also more being in your child's life as a mother than just being in the household with him every day, because you don't even understand that you also instilling negative things too, because all you do is scream and yell. All you do is cry. All you do is sit on the phone and talk about them to your friends. Like, all of that shit is stuff that's not good. You don't instill anything into your daughters either. That's why half of these women is harlots. So that's what's going on in the Black community if we really want to get down to it. But let's keep going.
What in y'all's eyes does that mean to you? Like, from y'all's experience, what's your connection to or experience with reproductive justice, and what does that actually mean to you? Anybody should kick in.
As a father, you fall deeply in love with parenting, right? And what that means, and understanding the responsibility that it takes. But you also learn, as a father, the mother ends up doing so much more than what you can offer sometimes. And it's just facts. You don't have breasts to feed this baby. You don't have the kind of just natural intellect to kind of carry things. That's why a lot of fathers just say, here you go, I don't know what to do, right?
That's a projection. I don't know how many fathers had the baby in their hands and said, here you go, I don't know what to do. That's a projection. So a lot of times you're going to see a lot of these conversations. What you're going to see in this conversation a lot is a lot of projection. It's a lot of, well, this is how I thought, so must be how everybody else think. And then they get people in these same enclaves or thought processes, and they act like that's the norm. Did this nigga just say you don't have the intellect? What are you talking about? You damn right we don't have breasts. So yeah, we can't we can't we don't have the child attached to us, and we don't have breasts, so we can't feed the child from that perspective. But there's so much more to a father than just not what the mother can do that he can't do what the mother can do. There's so much more to a father than that. You don't have the intellect? Well, that's a you problem. That don't have nothing to do with all the other black men who raised their children and raised those children correctly, that instilled the right wisdom and the right structure, that has a routine. That's not black men's fault because yo ass don't know what you doing. Don't throw that on every single black man. You sound like a goofy. You sound like a nigga that's raised by his single mama. That mentality is stuck, and these niggas be 45. And I talk about this all the time. This is what I mean by old. It's a big difference between olders and elders, and the majority of these niggas be olders who just old and talk. They're not elders. They haven't done anything. They have no intelligence, and they project their dysfunctional mentality on everybody else. So we're gonna stop with this whole he older, so he must know more. He older, so he must know what he's talking about. He was a goofy, and you was a goofy when you was my age. Let's keep going.
So I think for one, it's just accepting that, understanding that you are there to help produce and provide, but then there's gonna be so much more that you can't, provide. And so just trying to be a support system around whatever your spouse or your girlfriend at the time is choosing to do with their body is something that I've learned over the years. Personal experiences from having to make that decision to have an abortion, with your girlfriend at a young age, to end up feeling like that you didn't have a say-so in it, right? And then understanding as a man where you don't. Once you decide to go into that position and you put your seed into this woman, now that's her decision where to go. You can't say, well, I don't want no baby, or you can't have it. No, you should have thought about that before you go. So teaching my son that, right?
Okay, cool. So then the same logic should apply. If that man doesn't want to be in that child's life, then he should be able to say, you know what? You have the decision to say, well, I don't want to have a say-so, or men shouldn't have a say-so on my body because it's my body. Cool. Are you going to uphold the same logic on the flip side? Since it's your child, when it comes to if you're going to keep the baby, don't make it both of our child when it comes to I want to be in this child's life or don't want to be in this child's life. You can't pick and choose, because if the father is supposed to be there, he should be there across the board. You can't pick and choose when it's time to blame him for something. Now it's like, oh yeah, you wasn't the dad you was supposed to be, but it's okay for you to kill it. I think that's much worse by far. Not I know that's way worse for you to kill the baby, but I just don't want to be in the baby life. I ain't about to walk down and stab the baby in the neck because I don't want to be around it. Make that make sense to me. Come on, man. These niggas be goofies, man. These niggas be goofies.
And then understanding that you have a decision very early on in the process, but later on you don't. And if you decide to go through with it, then you need to be ready to support and provide and do the things that you need to do. So
again, just it's you the father whenever it's beneficial for the woman.
That's kind of been my learning curve over the situation. And then just
what do y'all keep talking about in the chat with all this trans stuff? This is a woman. Him that's talking right here. This is a tranny. That's the trans model Ashley something. Who is this name Ashley? This is a woman? I'm asking genuinely because I don't know. This a woman right here? Ain't no way. I know it's a little delay on the chat. I'm waiting. No? Okay. I'm just making, because I'm like, what? Okay. All right.
It's feeling horrible for, as we was talking off camera, about all the women who've lost their lives in this situation and not been able to have the medicine that they need. And not only around, reproduction and having babies, but even down to like fibroids, right? Mm-hmm. My wife struggles with that, and Black women not having the information that they need to figure out how to get rid of the fibroids and all those type of things. So whatever we can do to just kind of lean in and learn and listen, that's what I've been like. Same thing. If somebody would have asked me a couple years ago, I said, I guess my perspective may have been different, but now we're in a time where you really just want to have a different understanding. I teach my son that, and then also my daughter,
Teaching your son to be a goofy, you teach your son to be weak, you're going to teach your daughter to be a hoe.
What decision she has to make before she lays down with somebody and how it can change your life, right?
So it's incumbent upon you to have that information if your desire is to be a father. Is to understand the woman's point of view and the things that they go through. We think of a lot of things that we go through, our upbringing, not having a father or having a father, all our experiences, and the dream of being a father, and having a son or a daughter, and what kind of father you want to be. All of that comes to mind, but before inception, those thoughts never came to me in the sense of what she would go through.
I can agree with him on that as far as understanding what the woman is going to go through. Sure, we can agree to that. But the fact that you didn't think about that until the woman got pregnant, that is your fault. That don't have nothing to do with the overwhelming majority of black men. What you're talking about is a projection. Again, this is a projection of a bunch of who gonna agree with each other for the most part. So they take their mentality and their projection, they throw it on and make it seem like this is black men. No, it's not black men. I'm a black man and these niggas sound goofy.
You know, how would I handle being in a waiting room and being told something and not knowing the information? Who do I lean on? All those things that come to mind that happen when you're in the delivery room or the process of having a baby or having a healthy delivery and all of that stuff. And then, you know, I think it's absolutely important for us to have these types of conversations and have these thoughts leading up into the idea and actualizing fatherhood. You know, I think we center ourselves, you know, the patriarchy of it all, we center ourselves, you know, we're the ones that make it happen.
Hey, I want to say something. I was raised by women.
Right.
And I ran into some brothers a couple of years, last year.
Didn't I tell y'all these niggas be raised by women? You heard the background say? Same. They think like women. Most black men in America are liberal white women. That's what they are. They just don't know it. Most black men, look at the way these niggas vote. Look at the stuff that these niggas believe in. They believe in abortion. Like this is the most black men in America, unfortunately. We got to get out of that, man. This is exactly why the problem and the issues that we have in the community, anybody want to talk about? It's men just like this. It's men just like this. They have no backbone whatsoever. The average black man in America is weak. I've said it 1,000 times before. I'll say it again today.
And we were running for election, who felt like Kamala couldn't lead.
Crazy.
I said, but your mother ran the house.
Right.
That's not a good thing, you dummy. That's not a good thing. But your mother ran the house. That's not a good thing. And actually, I'm glad that he said that. I'm about to show y'all some stats real quick. Let me just let this play.
My mother tragically died when I was 4, but my sister who raised me was a gangster. Could take $1 and balance the budget like in 25 minutes, $100. So
your sister and the mother that you're talking about being a gangster and being in charge is the lack of work that men like you don't want to do. If anybody want to know where this mentality comes from, it comes from the fact that they've never seen a man do it. So they would rather give their job and their position to the woman because she used to do it before, but she's not supposed to be. She's not doing that because she's supposed to do it. She's doing it because she has to do it because you are out of order. So when these niggas get older, they still have the same mentality, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. The black woman should be in charge. The black woman should do all of this. The black woman should be the leader because you don't want to do your job, my nigga, because you was never taught to do your job. You don't have any true experience to be doing your job. All you do is sit around and talk. Like that's what we talking about here. These niggas don't want to be men. They want to be women. They want to be women. It's crazy to me, man. It's crazy to me. Let's keep going.
Oh, I think that in order to trust black women, we gotta kind of like, I think you and I were talking about, or no, I was talking to my driver on the way over about holding yourselves accountable. 81% of people don't talk. And black men have to talk to the women. And a lot of the women, and it's not 81% of women, it's 81% of people don't talk. So I think it starts with a dialogue. But I can personally tell you, I can't imagine walking around with another person inside of me. And I think that we have to yield to women. And I don't think the government can tell you if you were raped. I mean, they're talking about if you were raped or molested, that you have to have that child. I don't think the government should have any say in that. Along with women having a choice of their bodies, we also have to teach our daughters and sons how to be responsible. Not rely on the plan B, you know, because abortion shouldn't be used just so you can all go out and have a good time.
Right.
Because we walk away, you know, but women have to deal with the body, the change of your body. It's so much. I tell my girl all the time, I couldn't do it. just having a menstrual cycle. I would say, God, can y'all let mine come it's like once a year? I could pay somebody once a year, because I watch my girl go through the changes emotionally, and not just physically, but it's a lot of shit women go through. So I think men, honestly, need to sit down, shut the fuck up.
Right.
It's a
Again, this is just so insane that these men think like this. I didn't think Pinky was like this, man. I met this thing in Vegas, man. I didn't think bro was like this, man. It sucks.
Oh,
seeing-
Chaos tip $22.22. May peace, prosperity, and protection be with you. Keep doing your thing, my G.
Shout out to Chaos with the $2.22, man. Much love to you. I it's messed up that that Clifton Powell think like this, man. I didn't think he was like this. I thought he was a true OG, man. This is a goofy. He's another weak black male. Again, Chaos, thank you for that $22. I appreciate that. It's Pinky Nickel. I see why this name Pinky. Anyway, nobody's at least I'm not sitting up here negating that there are things that women go through with their bodies that we don't have to go through, right? But it was ordained that way from the jump. So to sit there and say that you think men should sit down and shut the fuck up, I think it's crazy. And I think that's the problem now. You are doing the exact thing that you people complain about all the time. We always talk about, I ain't gonna say we, but people always talk about how there's no black male leaders. The men don't want to be the men no more. There's no leaders. The men aren't taking charge. The men don't want to protect and provide anymore. But then on the flip side, you'll say that the men should sit down and shut the fuck up and just let women handle everything. And you wonder why the dating market is the way it is. You wonder why abortion is so high. You wonder why the divorce rate is so low. The divorce rate is so high and the marriage rate is so low. You notice, you wonder why people are having more sex. You wonder why homosexuality is at an all-time high. You wonder why the black community specifically, when it comes to these children, it's dysfunctional, right? Why these young black boys, they rather run to the streets because half of them either be gay or they don't have any way to really channel their emotions because their father is not there to instruct discipline. So they operate like they damn mama. That's what's wrong with this shit. You wonder why these little girls, they want to be hoes. You go to a 17-year-old, yes, I said 17 years old. You go to a 17-year-old's Instagram, go look at your little cousins or your little nieces and people that surrounding your family. They're half of them, I bet you, half naked on social media at 17 years old. Tight little clothes, bending over, showing their nipples and their titties, they're showing their nipples through the shirt. These little girls be 17 years old. Maybe 19, 20, 21, already done slept with 10, 15 different dudes, then been with some girls. They drink, they smoke, probably got a whole tattoo sleeve on their arm at the age of 19. Because it ain't no men around, because the men are being told to sit down and shut the fuck up. Masculinity is being, this is indoctrination, what you've seen at this table. Masculinity is under attack. Femininity is under attack, and they want to reverse the roles and make the man act like the woman and make the woman act like the man, because people are easier to control when there is nobody that's going to be the head and actually take leadership. Because the difference is this: women can have all the so-called power and all the so-called leadership that they want to, but at the end of the day, the patriarchy is still going to exist. You know why? Because men have a monopoly on force. There is a force doctrine that we're always going to be able to we're always going to be able to sit on. So even if a woman does say, if women all collectively said we are in charge, and the men said, okay, all y'all in charge, at the end of the day, how are the women going to enforce their own defense? So if you have a woman as a leader, how is she going to enforce this leadership? She has to enforce this leadership through patriarchy. Why? Because we are biologically and physically superior than women, which means that the women cannot defend themselves. They can't. Women in general cannot defend themselves. Somebody gonna say, what if a woman got a gun? Well, if men and women went to war, who would win? Men have a monopoly on guns. Men can hold more ammunition because we're stronger, right? There are more men that even own firearms, that shoot firearms. Where are the women gonna get the gunpowder from? Where are they gonna get the steel to even make the guns? All of these things are ran and operated by men, and not because they're just men. Well, I guess it is because that they're just men. We have a monopoly on force. So even if the women are the leaders, how are they going to defend their position? This isn't Wakanda and the Woman King. They can't defend their position. If every man woke up today and said women are not allowed to work, vote, and they all going to sit in the house, there's nothing that women in general could do. They would have to yield because we have a monopoly on force. And it's like that gets negated. So since we have the monopoly on force, we have to be the leaders. We have to. It's the most insane thing in the world to me. Let's keep going. Hold on, my bad. There we go.
line that we don't see, because if you weren't raised that way, you don't know. It's like you listening to you guys trying to be good husbands. But the women gotta let us in, and we can't tell them what to do. And I think this government has to step back and let women make choices for themselves.
Yeah.
What? The government is doing that now. What do you mean the government has to? If you talking about abortion, because he talking about everything. But if you talking about abortion, women are still allowed to get abortions. It's just left up to the states now. But what we don't talk about, and notice that you have not heard this one time in this entire conversation they've had, women having sexual discipline, because we really want to be honest. In a first world country like America, in a country where we are civilized and there are laws and policies, women control access to sex. Now, if we talking about without this being a first world country, without it being laws and policies in place that holds men accountable for their actions, men actually control access to sex because we have a monopoly on force. So if you in a room with a man, there's nothing you can do to stop him, ladies, if he wanted to take it from you. But because we live in a first world country and we live in a civilized society, there are laws and policies in place. So if a man was to do that, he's going to get held accountable for it. But they have not talked about women having sexual discipline to say, I'm not going to allow this man into my body, and saying no. It's like that conversation is just not even being had, because that was a conversation that was had in the past. I'm sure you would hear older women talk about this, how, you know, they wasn't sleeping around, right? They like, that's why marriage and even in most mainstream religions, a woman being promiscuous is always the end of society. Sodom and Gomorrah. Like even in the Bible, if you go to the Quran, all of these things are things when it comes to promiscuity in women, things that destroy societies. They destroy communities. So we need to also talk about that, because women control access to sex. They can say no. And if a man takes them under their will, he should be held accountable for it. He should be beheaded and castrated publicly on live TV. But like, we don't talk about that. Men can't sleep with you unless you tell them the access to say, yes, you can sleep with me. But we ain't gonna act like that. We just gonna act like men just walking around having sex with women. We hear this notion all the time. He made me a baby mother. No, he didn't make you a baby mother. You decided to lay down with him and not require marriage. Because if you would have said, no, you're not getting my body until you can show me that you're going to provide me a long-term relationship, then you can get that. Cool. That's why weddings and marriages were so important, and they were so sought out back in the day. The reason why women wear white during weddings is because it symbolizes purity. This woman is untouched. The reason why men wear black, because it symbolizes protection and leadership and a level of a structure that I'm going to take this woman's hand in marriage and make sure that she is provided for and taken care of. In return, she's going to give me her body, she's going to give me her loyalty with her body, and she's going to give me her submission. But that's not a thing anymore. It's an issue with men and women, but it's an issue, and it starts with the women because women control access to sex. But nope, it's all the men's fault. And I think it's crazy that these niggas are sitting around this table talking like this. Because if I was there, I would have shut all this down. But they ain't gonna have niggas like me there, because I'm gonna shake the table. I'm gonna make it go against the grain, and they don't want to talk to me because I'm gonna make them niggas look goofy on there. Because the only thing I'm gonna ask them, everything that you're saying right now, this women empowerment stuff, how can they enforce their own empowerment? So the same patriarchy that they talk about, if they say, well, the men would have to, okay then, so you believe in the patriarchy, nigga, shut up. Let's keep going. If I asked Conscious Lee or Clifton Powell, if you out with your woman and I smack her in the face, what are you gonna do? Do you think that you should protect your woman, or you think that she should protect herself? Well, I should protect her because I'm a man. That means you believe in the patriarchy, stupid nigga. Let's keep going.
What to do. And I think this government has to step back and let women make choices for themselves.
Women are the first wonder of the world, despite what's said. It's the first wonder.
Exactly.
That's the only thing outside of God that I know that creates.
Yes.
First
Yes.
and foremost.
Women do not create, men create. I have semen, I have babies in my balls right now. Women harvest. So actually, no, men create. All of us, if you're a healthy man, you have life in your genitals right now. You have life in your genitals. And a woman's job is to take that life and harvest it and turn it into an actual human being. So no, women don't create life. Actually, men create life. Biologically, men create life. So again, nigga, you're just wrong. You're just talking what your mama told you. Again, let's keep going.
The issue.
I had no clue that's why men wear black. Yeah, look it up. Women wear white because they're symbolizing virginity. Women wear black because it shows a level of protection and providing. But let's keep going.
Issues that we have are that the woman knows before we know whether or not life should be brought into earth, brought here, or if it should be aborted. They deserve to have that right for the simple fact of America does not allow us to run a system the way we should as a family. Men don't understand, you may be the leader, but you might not be the provider. Do you know how to lead if you are not the provider? In the midst of trying to figure it out, we coming from a...
You can't lead unless you're the provider. You can't lead unless you're the protector. Now, of course, there's more to leadership than just provision and protection, but you can't be a leader because the leader is the one that's in charge.
whole bunch of systematic, it's been constructed for us to be the way that we are, to think that we are. That's not how it was
And
programmed.
then talk about that program I mentioned where they took they paid
Black
to take
fathers
black fathers out of the
house.
home.
And then from there, me
Right.
and Cliff was talking
Right.
about that. When it started with the Section 8, women were able to take care of the kids without the man being in the house, which gave her the mindset that I can be the leader because I have to be the provider. And then after that, it was the crack epidemic, which guys started using or they was going to prison. Regardless, we stayed out of the house. Now it's social media, and the thing is, we were always here to protect the black women. And if you ever seen the movie Sparta, men were actually the leaders, but the leader knew how to lead because he still trusted the woman with the gift that God gave her, which was intuition and discernment. And if you knew...
And then another lie, y'all gonna miss me with this whole intuition and discernment, because if women had so much intuition and discernment, they wouldn't be the baby mothers that they are. They wouldn't always get finessed. This man lied to me, he manipulated me, he did this to me, he did that to me. If they had so much intuition and discernment, then they wouldn't be in the positions that a lot of modern women are in. So you can miss this intuition and discernment stuff because they wouldn't make the decisions that they make. And if they had intuition and discernment on a higher level than men, then why do the women naturally want their men to be the leaders? If you ask the average woman across the board, they're going to say they want their man to be in charge. They want their man to be the leader. They want their man to be the decision maker and the one who sets the domain and the structure and the plan. So if they have more intuition, and they was talking about earlier with like, we don't have the one dude said he doesn't have the intelligence. So if the women are smarter, the women are better, they're more powerful, then why are they in the position that they're in? Because if all of this is true, then they would not have to be in the positions that they're in. It would actually be the opposite. Make it make sense.
how to treat your woman, and she knew how to love, and that stress was off her. It allowed y'all to operate as a family unit, to be able to trust her so she can be able to trust you. Once you realize how powerful that woman is, a lot of us run around, and even for myself, I struggle with being monogamous because I didn't understand the value of the woman. But once you put a woman next to God, would you play with God the same way? And if you knew what you possessed as powerful, I don't think that we would run around with the promiscuous mindset of thinking it's okay, because we wouldn't look at women the way that we are downplayed the thing of how they are.
So I'm gonna interject
Real quick.
Okay, so it's naturally in a man's order to want to seek out multiple women. Like that's biology. There's a reason why if a woman sleeps with 100 men, only one of them are going to get her pregnant. But if a man sleeps with 100 women, as long as those women are not sleeping with other men, he can get all of these women pregnant. That's the true biology. That's not even like I think so. No, that's like actual facts. Like that's actually a thing. So you just talking and this isn't really a debate. This is let me go find a whole bunch of people that agree with me. So I don't really get people that's going to sit there and go against each other. This is what they wanted. This is what they want the black man to be: weak, effeminate, and yields all of his power to the woman. And he is the one that's in the submissive role. He is the one that plays the back seat. He is the one that does nothing. He doesn't have any leadership. He doesn't have any role, and he's under the I guess the control or the say so of the woman. But if you actually talk to the average woman, she does not want this, unless she's a woman that's a homosexual.
Quick though, I think that there's something I think that's really dope that you started with is around women being the first close to God, right? Like, and because
that's a fact.
And talking about creation, talking about creating, talking about, because
I don't want to hear nothing about God when you niggas support abortion. I don't want to hear nothing about God when you niggas support homosexuality. Miss me with this about God stuff. They only love to bring up God when it comes to this like pseudoscience stuff that it can't even be proven. But don't talk about the Bible and talk about God and all of this when you believe in things because of how you feel. Miss me with all this. What about the God stuff? Because you're the main person sitting there talking about we should murder babies. That's literally what you're saying. What you mean God? Are you really? You want to talk about God, nigga? These niggas is insane, man.
Because I do think people talk about the human race all the time, and it started with blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
It started in Africa, started in Africa
with a black woman,
right? And so I do think the closest you could get to power, the closest you could.
Okay, this is another delusional talking point. They like to use this talking point to say, oh, well, life started because the first woman that was ever found was a black woman in Africa. Okay, so let me just destroy this talking point very easily. Where did the woman come from who bones were found in Africa? Simple. Where did she come from? Did she just exist and just died and she was just walking around by herself and she just happened to die? I mean, even when you say that, like, how did she get there? Just because that's the time that it was discovered, the first human remains that was ever found, that doesn't mean that that was the first person to ever exist. That means that that was the first human remains that you found. That's like white people say we discovered America. Well, just you came to, just because you were the first, that was the first time you came to America. America has always been here. What are you talking about? This is insane. This is an insane conversation with a lot of dumb people. I wish it was at this table, and they wouldn't have me at this table. It would have been, and if I was at the table, it would have been a lot of screaming and yelling because them niggas would have just been in their emotions and all that. I would have just completely just killed these niggas with facts.
Get to life creating circumstances and is with the black woman.
I just wonder, yes.
But also just want to ground us in, when we talk about reproductive justice, it's not just about birthing, right? It's not just about having a kid. Right. And it's about, when we talk about bodily autonomy, it's about, we all want the right to control our bodies. I don't want nobody telling me what to do with my body, right?
Cool. I wonder if that logic applies when you have to go to the draft. I wonder if that logic applies. If we went to war, since you don't want nobody telling you what you should do with your body, then I wonder if you say that when you go to the doctor and they tell you that you need to do this. I wonder if you do that. I wonder, does that logic apply when it comes to all of the millions and the millions and millions of men that passed away in the military due to the draft? You have to go because you have a penis. All that, I don't want to have the government have a say so my body go out of the window. I think it's crazy. I think it's insanity. And we act like that doesn't exist. Again, let's keep going.
And
these are facts I'm talking about. I would have destroyed all of these niggas on this platform easily. And I'm not even I'm not a scholar. I don't say I'm a scholar. I'm just somebody who got common sense. These niggas are lost.
That is a right that expands even beyond having a kid, yes. Right? And fostering that environment to be able to raise folks. And when we talked about like the village, right? And that it takes a village to raise a kid. It wasn't like, okay, all these people on the block got a responsibility. It was actually, you understood that kid that every decision that goes into raising that kid, teaching that kid how to move, teaching that kid how to communicate, affects, it forms their future, but it also affects everybody in the village, right? And so everybody had a responsibility to make sure that person and the people that were raising that kid had what they needed, had the healthiest environment and things, to make sure that everyone is okay, that we all can live the life that we deserve, right? Yes. And so, I do want to also make sure that I ain't got no kids, just so I can't talk about the standpoint from a father, but there are fathers at this table. I also got 25 nephews and nieces. I'm unk over here, you know what I'm saying? I got unk strategy over here. But
DMs, what up, my guy?
There's perspectives from all on this table from every angle of it, and I do want to go back to and we can go wherever you wanted to go, whatever you wanted to say, but I do want to talk about that like you said, the government shouldn't be involved. Keeping in mind that this is a government that was steeped in what they call white supremacy. I like to call white delusion, right? You know what I'm saying? It was the same thing, right? And they
don't want to believe that they came from a black woman.
Yeah, and the definition.
Becky, you came from a black woman.
Well, the definition of masculinity, the definition of what we do with our bodies and how we define a government's role in that came from that corrupt standpoint, that corrupt perspective.
Okay, so basically what he's saying is patriarchy and the way that the man's role is and the way that the woman's role is comes from white European colonization. Okay, cool. So explain to me If you look back at any empire, any civilization, any, whether that be in Africa, whether that be in Asia, whether that be in any Latin American country, or not Latin American, but any Latin country, if you go look at the people that were in certain tribes and things like that from thousands of years ago, explain to me why the same order was kept across the board. Men were the warriors, men were the hunter and gatherers, and the gatherers, and the women stayed back and took care of and protected and nurtured and nourished the children. Explain that to me. Because there was no European westernized colonization back then. Those people were tribal people. They were barbaric people. Explain to me how the same order back then was the same way. Any tribe, any empire, any civilization. Explain to me how that was the same way. So if you go look at like the Mongolian Empire, the men were the warriors. The men were in charge. Genghis Khan. So how did that, where was the white European colonization in? Where was all of if you go to places like all throughout Africa, all of those tribes in Africa, explain to me how the men were always the warriors and the men were the leaders and the women had a completely different role. If you go look at I think not the Indian, I think it's the Indian Ocean. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's off the coast of India, North Sentinel Island. The Indian government made this place where they cannot even go. Nobody can even go here. Why are the men and the women completely different? And when you go to North Sentinel Island, even you go to the certain places, go look up Paul Rizzoli. Paul Rizzoli is he's a Amazon rainforest like conservationist. He wants to conserve basically the life that's there. He don't want people taking down the trees, and he wants to keep everything there. Paul Rizzoli, he has a video. He put it out there maybe like 2 weeks ago. It's a video of these people in the Amazon. These people are tribal people. They don't speak English. They don't know anything about that. They're running around, dick out, barefoot, all of that. And the women are not even seen. Only the men are the people that's the warriors. And they recorded these men. They're operating like 70,000 years in the past, hundreds of thousand years in the past. North Sentinel Island are they like 150,000 years in the past, like 100,000 years in the past. Like that's how they live. That's how they operate. They don't even have like tools. And they don't know what Instagram is. They don't know what European colonization is. They look at a helicopter and probably think it's an alien. They look at a plane and probably think like the world is ending. Explain to me how the same patriarchal system operates in thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years in the past and all of these tribes. Explain that to me. Come on now. And if you don't believe me, go look up North Sentinel Island. Go look up Paul Rizzoli. Go look up the Amazon rainforest and all the conservation of this that's out there doing this and literally reporting on the stuff. It's video of it. Explain that to me. Again, these niggas are dummies. They just old niggas who talk. Let's keep going.
So I 100% agree that the government shouldn't have anything about it, but where did you want to go with that?
Well, I think one of the things that I think helps, I believe, with women's right in terms of their sexual reproduction is the relationship.
One more thing too. I would ask them, how do women have rights? This is another way I'm giving y'all talking points that y'all can use when y'all hear delusional people talk like this. Here's another one. Here's another argument that y'all can use. How do women have rights? Because rights are not a real thing. I'm just putting y'all on game real quick. Rights are not a real thing. There's no such thing called human rights. That is a lie. Every single right that we have, the right to vote, the right to bear arms, all of these things are social. None of these things are human rights. These are not human rights. These are social rights that are upholded by a certain defense mechanism because humans understood, okay, without laws, without policies, without rights, we would murder, rape, kill, and steal from each other. So we need to create a social platform of a level of a fear to say, okay, well, if you do this crime or you do this unethical thing, and even ethics, right, all of these things are basically social, right? Because you have certain places in certain countries where they don't believe in none of that. Some women are not even allowed to drive cars in certain Middle Eastern countries. But all of these things are social. There's no such thing called a human right. Only right that you got is that you're going to live one day and you're going to die. That's it. So we don't have any rights. But I would ask them, since y'all keep talking about women's rights and human rights, how are these rights inherent? These rights are not inherent. These rights are social. And who upholds these rights? Do women uphold these rights? No, they don't. Men uphold these rights because we still have the monopoly on force. That's how these rights are defended. It's the men defending these rights that you claim that people have, which makes it social, nigga. It's not a human right that you just have from birth. These are all social construct that we all believe in. That's it. But I'm not talking about a social feeling. I'm talking about reality and biology. Men are just stronger than women physically, so we are able to uphold these rights and say no. And men have to look out for other men. It's real simple, man. This shit ain't rocket science. You don't need to be a scholar to talk about this shit either. This shit's simple.
That we have with the black men. I heard a psychiatrist when I was on one of the panels say that African American men and women are suffering from 450 years of post-slavery PTSD.
Yes.
So one of the things that I love about this thing right here is that the next one I want to see is black men and black women sitting down together and talking about how do we learn to exist in peace. And I say that because I'm saying this, and a lot of times I have to catch myself. It's emotional. I grew up with a lot of violence around me. My father, when he drank, I seen him knock women. My father fight a baby. He was just off. He was mentally off from the oppression of this culture that broke him. And, so we were born, a lot of us were born into that. Our fathers, and we're trying to break those cycles.
So your father was under the influence of alcohol. So it made him do things that he probably shouldn't have been doing. He was under the influence of something. So your father was an addict. That don't have nothing to do with him being a black man. He was just a addict. Your father wasn't a good father. That don't have nothing to do with all the other black men. Again, you're projecting your trauma and your negativity in a way that you think, in a way that your bullshit ass father thought, and throwing that on the crux of black men and say, yeah, black men, we got to do better. No, nigga, your father should have did better. That nigga was an alcoholic. So he did what he did because he didn't want to be a man, the same way you don't want to be a man, which is why your father and you are relieving your duties to give it to the woman, which is why the woman is the way she is now, because you niggas are weak. You niggas don't want to say what I'm saying because you niggas is scary. You niggas don't want to get pushed back. You niggas don't want to be called names. You niggas are soft. You niggas are the same thing that you think. You niggas operate the same way in the stuff that y'all talk against. Y'all niggas operate like the European. You niggas are liberal white women. You niggas believe in egalitarianism, which don't exist in real life, nigga. Egalitarianism is fake. Let's keep going. Go look up egalitarianism. You don't know what that means.
So somehow that ties into me to women's reproductive choices in terms of having a baby with a guy that's comes from a broken family. Now the baby coming in with a broken family and bam, bam, bam. And the mother's asking the father for support. And like, yo, I ain't asked you to have that baby. That ain't shit. I don't even know if that's our mother. I mean, there's so many levels to this that make women cower or not want to talk, or be the victim of one guy shot his baby mama and the kids the other day. It's so I think we got to attack.
Okay, the percentage of men who actually commit domestic violence and has killed their intimate partner or killed their child is so small that you're making a null and void point. The majority of men, the majority of black men don't even have a criminal record. The majority of black men have never unalived or committed DV or anything. So you can miss me with these so-called, what about if the man killed a boy? That happened the other day. I'm sure a woman stabbed her boyfriend the other day. I'm sure a woman probably swung on her man the other day. I'm not going to make that my argument, an anecdotal situation where the majority of black women don't have a criminal record. The majority of black women have never killed anybody. So again, you sound like the white supremacists that you talk against so much. You take small anecdotal situations, or you take your own trauma and you throw it on everybody else and say, this is just how these people are. This is what white people do on Twitter when they talk about black fatigue. They take a picking and choosing, cherry picked video of a black woman or a black man at some grocery store getting into a fight. And they say, yeah, look at this black fatigue, without adding the context that there was probably about 15, 20 other black people in that store. And they didn't get into no fight. They didn't cause no issue. And that issue that you took at the peak of it, you didn't even speak about how the person that she got into it may have started it. You didn't even speak about it on any other point that you could have made to say the context of why this fight happened. So you're doing the same exact thing that you speaking against. These niggas are liberal white women, bruh. These niggas are the same these niggas are white supremacists, actually. These are black white supremacists that you're seeing in real time today. Let's keep going. They don't care about the black community. These niggas don't care about black men and women coming together. They care about being a victim. Let's keep going.
That from not just right now in this racist culture that
you
we're
racist.
seeing with this administration.
You the true racist.
Also from a generational standpoint. For sure.
I don't have the
It's Trump fault. It's everything Trump fault. No, nigga, it's your fault. You don't want to take accountability. It's Trump. It's racist. Yeah, because Joe Biden wasn't racist. Yeah, because Kamala Harris was a black woman. Yeah, of course she was. The Jamaican half Indian woman who put up a bunch of black men in jail in California, who married to a white man. You can't make this shit up, man.
Historical information, man. That's why I'm a listener, man. I'm a great listener. But you know, when I hear, you know, from your generation, your perspective, and your perspective, and everybody's, you know, perspective, in the sense that as we get into it, I feel like we let women down in that regard. We didn't stand on business. And
What you mean by that?
I just feel like we let depression wear us down. Fathers let depression wear them down and beat them down, take them out of the house, and therefore
No, they forced them out of the house.
forced them.
No, they had a program. They forced them out.
I get
They didn't leave the house.
I feel that. I understand that. I can't, but ain't nobody gonna make me leave my woman. I get that. I get it, but ain't nobody gonna make me leave my family.
I got you.
I get what, I understand that. I could never fathom what went on back then.
I think you might be alluding to weak ass men allowing things that might be coming up. Like, you know, like, oh, this seems like, I don't know exactly the historical precedent.
Okay, so they got a gay nigga sitting up here talking about, okay, so it's a gay nigga. Clearly you can tell this nigga gay. And from what y'all saying, this is also a trans right here from what I saw in the comments. So this nigga this is a woman and this is a gay man. And I think it's hilarious that y'all are sitting here talking about the differences between black men and women and how we should come together. When you have a trans person, you have a person with a mental disorder that wants to be a man. That's actually, so this is actually a woman, right? And then you have a homosexual man right here who, and let's just be honest, and what has the homosexual community ever did to bring up black men and women relations besides getting around black women, because that got called a homosexual slur in the 4th grade, and now they're mad at all straight black men because they were never accepted and like to act like black men are the ones who uphold homophobia, when we know that black men have not passed one law or one policy to say what gays can or can't do, right? Black men are the biggest issues and the proprietors and all the issues in society, but we know that when it comes to homosexual men, all they do, really, let's keep it honest, the majority of them, all they do is get around black women, and they like to use black women and to try to become a black woman. So they talk like black women, they dress like black women, they act like black women, and all they do is perpetuate negativity. All they do is perpetuate black women to get abortions, be hypersexual, wear fake weave, lashes, and everything else to not do what they're supposed to do. Because why? Because these homosexual men are very messed up internally. They want to get around black women to feel acceptance. And then unfortunately, because women in general are natural followers and hive-minded people, they will accept this behavior. So they will speak about how the black man is so effeminate and soft nowadays, but then they'll support homosexuality and go to an LGBTQ pride parade. I think somebody just rang my doorbell. Hold on, man. Hold on. Mexicans knocking on my fucking door but nothing. Anyway, an old ass Mexican bitches knocking at my fucking door. My door. Anyway, as I was saying, these homosexuals, right? They don't do anything but perpetuate negativity. They want black women and men to be separate so they can get around black women and become a black woman, and they do nothing but push negativity into black women. They promote hypersexuality. They promote everything that is literally negative in a black woman. They always promote black women doing anything and everything because a lot of these people don't have honor. And because women in general have a hive mind, they're very welcoming and open, and they have this egalitarianism type of mentality. There's this thing where they like to get around specifically homosexual black men because it's kind of cool, and it's like this little thing that they have where they like to see big black men acting like a woman. For example, Saucy Santana, he's a 6'2", 6'3", 275-pound D lineman who wants to be a power bottom. And a lot of women like prop him up. They prop him up as somebody to follow, somebody to be, somebody to listen to for dating advice. It's the most insane thing in the world. These dudes don't do nothing but perpetuate everything that we speak about that's wrong with the black community today, the majority of them. So the fact that y'all sitting around this round table and y'all not gonna call his community out for all the things that they do, but you want to sit here and act like it's the, yeah, because they don't even like to call themselves men. They like to call themselves that they're a separate thing. Like, yeah, I'm a man, but I'm gay and I'm black, but I'm different from y'all. Like, they don't even like to take accountability for the thing. Everything is on the heterosexual male. Like, come on, man. Come on, man. You miss me with all that. They don't have no honor, man. That's why they like to get around women, because there's no right, wrong, or indifferent. There's I can do whatever and be whatever, and they're going to accept me no matter what. And I want y'all to notice something. You notice how men don't gravitate towards homosexual or lesbian women like that. You know why? Because we have a level of an honor code to say there's not really much that you can offer me. Men don't get around homosexual women like that. We don't prop them up. We don't get around that a woman that wants to be a man. We don't prop them up. We don't do that. We don't even do that. Like, we literally don't do that. So they get accepted. They get to find somewhere to run and hide, because when you're around men, you have to take accountability. You don't have to do that when you're around a whole bunch of women, when you don't want to be with one. Let's keep going.
So either, well, you know how you say like, oh, like, you know, you stripping us from the house. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes, I'm a man who dates men. A lot of men aren't strong. So the way that you say you're not going to take nobody from my family, you're not going to strip me from my family, a lot of people don't walk with that. A lot of people don't have that. So, I mean, like, it is systematic, but I mean, at the same time, I mean, you part of like the few men who is not going to live their life like that.
I mean, I get a system that you live in a place that is just geared to tell you, you ain't shit, you ain't shit, you ain't shit.
And it beats you down.
You ain't shit, you ain't shit. Yeah. And it beats your other counterpart down, so y'all come home to
madness,
beatness. Nobody know how to heal anybody, right?
It's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah,
I think it's a lot of different influences that happen, whether it's drugs, right? We know that our community struggled with that for a long time.
But let's talk about them. Let's go back. Let's go back and talk about the CIA putting the drugs in the neighborhood.
That's what I was gonna say. We're in a country where drugs is probably the most highest profit of things that you want, right? But just speaking on fatherhood and being in the house and not being in the household. I think, it's a lot of pressures coming from east side, right? Yeah. I've looked at fathers who run in the household and had conversations with them and say, man, you've been on drugs since you was 12 years old, brother. Your brain doesn't have the capability of thinking correctly, right? You are afraid that you can't provide for your family, so you would rather leave, right? Not knowing that you have a woman who's willing to stay down with you and hold you down no matter what, right?
Who said that shit? Nigga, how you know? Nigga just made that shit up. How you know that woman is gonna stay down with him no matter what? These niggas talk like women, bruh. I'm sorry, man. I'm not about to sit here and just let this shit slide, bro. Why are you making an assumption that a man has a woman that's gonna hold him down no matter what? Nigga, are you crazy? This is this like, it's always a one-sided thing mentality, bruh. In a relationship, it's never always the man. It's never always the woman. It's what she said and what he said and then the truth. You can't make this crazy ass example and try to hold men accountable as a collective, hold them accountable, and then say, yeah, man, because you men, y'all get on these drugs and then y'all want to leave even though you got a woman that's just holding you down. Like, nigga, how you know she holding me down? How you know she ain't shit? How you know she ain't cheating and lying? How she know she not trying to set me up? How you know she ain't trying to be the a negative person in my life? How you know she's a good mother? We act, and I'm not saying that's what she is. What I'm saying is there is context that is not being added to this conversation whatsoever. It's these niggas are speaking from, it's the man's fault. The man is the problem. The man is the issue. And it's because the man is the issue that we need to let the women take charge. No, the man is the issue because you niggas don't take charge. The man is the issue because you niggas don't want to lead. You niggas don't want to uphold what you're supposed to uphold. Like, I can't believe this shit, though. I can't believe this shit, dog. I can't. This is crazy. So the women are the gods and the men are demons, I'm assuming, I guess what that is. Is that the message? I guess so. The women are the gods and the men are the demons, and the men should yield to the god. But the god can't protect theyself. But they supposed to be a god. Okay. Pandering shit, man. These niggas is panderers, man. And this is what's wrong with, like, again, this is what's wrong with the men in society today. Let's keep going, bro.
So it's just as a man who, even to this day, get nervous, right? Like, oh man, this shit is slowing up. Like, am I better off telling my baby and them, like, are y'all good? No, of course not, right?
Right.
But you have to be honest about yourself and say, I'm fearful of certain things, and say, and not necessarily a weakness, but necessarily it's like, I'm scared, right? That I can't provide.
Yeah.
And now I've either let someone else kind of tell me what I need to do, right? Rather than following my own intuition. And
Sound like a personal problem, my guy. I don't get scared, nigga. I get money. I get to it. I hustle. I grind. You get scared because you a nigga that don't know what to do because you a weak ass man. I don't get scared, nigga. Even when times I've been broke, nigga, I figure it out, nigga. I ain't scared, nigga. I figure it out. I'll find another hustle. I ain't too big to work at McDonald's flipping patties, nigga. I'm gonna figure something out, and I'll quit that bitch the next day if I got enough money where I can go get another hustle. Or I may stay there for however long I need to stay there. You the type of nigga that gets scary because you a scary ass nigga. I ain't no scary ass nigga. I'm gonna figure it out. You niggas is weak as hell, man. This is what's wrong with the black men. Ladies, I feel y'all because you got too many niggas like this. I feel y'all.
having a relationship with my ancestors in the universe and that can really guide you, or having that one-on-one with your lady. So there's so many things that can pull people out of the house, similar to the conversation. It's like, well, if I was enslaved, I wouldn't have done that. It's like, well, you really don't know. So it's like, it's so many different things that go into why people do things. And sometimes, yeah, you can name it to, it's like, oh, this person was being a coward, or this person was being, but a lot of it is fear, and a lot of it is because we're the minority. And because the pressure that comes from so many other people that don't look like us, it's a lot of pressure that makes you feel that way. And then you got the people that's in your community that oppress you, right? Sure. And so as men, we do it to women, right? As men, that's the tier. Right. We do it to women even more, right? We fall underneath that same thing. And so to your point, we got to strip that away, figure out what the issue is with that, have those conversations, understand that it's layers and layers of what it is, but also don't be like, you weak as hell.
Maybe should have worded it like that now.
No, I know. You wouldn't have been able to do it. You ain't been able to hold it down, but it's just like, man, it's so many, reasons why a man would leave a household. And then sometimes it's, us not holding them accountable and saying, hey, look, man, you need to get your shit together. Yeah. All right, you need to make sure you over there. Because now I'm sitting here playing spades with you and smoking, nigga, you ain't seeing your kid 3 blocks down the street in weeks. Right. So no accountability. So to your point, as you was talking to your driver, let's take accountability, but then also kind of give each other a little bit of grace and understanding, especially our OGs who went through a lot, especially our guys who are coming from Vietnam, who came home to nothing and lost everything and went out there and lost their mind, saw things we could never imagine, right?
Did everything for this place. And
did everything for this country just for them to take it away from you. And so now I say, well, f everybody.
That's my entry point to this conversation. I think that because I went to college and I got a master's degree in human relations, I really sat with and grappled with power and domination when it comes to like gender discrimination.
You went to a liberal indoctrination camp, which most of these universities in America are liberal indoctrination camps.
And when it comes,
and you can't think for yourself. You let other people teach you, but you don't do your own research. You can't think for yourself. You a hive-minded ass nigga. You and everybody else at this damn table, for the most part.
To discrimination against women. So for me in this conversation, thinking about like fatherhood, I can't help but to think about the way in which I was introduced into this conversation about women's progression and how there were critiques of black women that talked about how us as men start thinking about this shit until we start having kids. So we start to think about how we only think about women when it's tethered to a man. Like, hey, respect her, bro. That's so-and-so little sister. Hey, respect her, bro. That's so-and-so. So it's really thinking about how us as men, in terms of accountability, we really don't even have a good transition from objectification to fatherhood because you've been a fucker for 20 years.
Projection. I don't have children. Never had children, never told a woman to get an abortion, never had a woman get an abortion, at least not from what I know. Any woman that I see, if I'm walking into a store, I'm gonna hold the door before her. If I see a man doing something to a woman that I feel like is unjust, I may say something, I may not. I ain't finna lose my life over a bitch that's finna go back to the nigga. But I've never been that way, ever. That's how you think. That's how you think. Again, this is a projection that these niggas believe because that's all they think about as women. They're throwing that on all men in general. I've never thought about a woman that way. I don't think that I'm only gonna protect or look at a woman as somebody that should be dealt with because she's attached to me. I've never done that. I've done things. If I'm at the gas station, I may see a woman struggling putting something in her trunk. I'm gonna go help her, not because I want to. Not because I'm a father, because it's a woman that needs help and I know she's biologically inferior than me. So let me go ahead and help her and be a gentleman and be a man and then go about my day. Not because I'm trying to get her number, nigga. And that's just innately in me because I'm a man. So you taking your projection on how you view women and throwing that on everybody else. Why would you just sit there and assume that that's the only thing that they meant? The conversation started talking about abortion, you stupid ass nigga. So since the conversation started talking about abortion, that has to do with possible fatherhood or not possible fatherhood. So that's why they were talking about it being tethered to children. You're making the assumption that the conversation was just about something random and they just only felt that way because it was about something that's associated with me. The conversation started about abortion, little dude. But the way that I view women, I don't view women just because I'm attracted to them, so I need to be there, or because I'm not attracted to them, or they're associated with me, or because I want to sleep with one. No. If I feel like it's righteous and I feel like I can help, and I'm gonna help. If I feel like it's something I can do, I'm gonna do it because I'm a man, not because I want to sleep with her or anything else. So again, this conversation is nothing but a bunch of weak-minded ass men who are projecting their thoughts on everybody else. And because they think like women, they can't conceptualize other things outside of their own mind frame. They take anecdotal situations and base that as the majority because these niggas struggle with understanding probability versus possibility. And that's what's wrong with the average man of America. You niggas are indoctrinated to the highest degree. Let's keep going.
And now you don't want to be a father no more. Now you want to be a father. Because we don't have that accountability to think about the like how we are taught to objectify women. And I know in our conversations it'd be like, hey, you can get respect from the homies based off how you get down on a bitch.
Yes. Yeah.
To be real. Yes. You can get capital, popularity, preference based off of how you're able to dominate and objectify other women. So then when I come into the conversation and I want to talk about progression of women, we start to have different, I'm gonna say pathology.
I think that's funny when you sit there and talk about objectifying women, but you don't speak about how women objectify themselves. You don't speak about the hypersexuality of women. You don't think about how these women are 16, 17, 18, 19, half naked on their social media pages, posting their titties and their ass. You don't think about or talk about that. You don't talk about how you have a lot of women that do sex work, OnlyFans, women that are strippers, women that are literally look like strippers and they look like they do OnlyFans and sex work, but they don't. They just have a normal social media page and they work at Wendy's as an assistant manager. You don't want to talk about all of that though. You don't want to act like that doesn't exist. Like you don't want to talk about, hey, women, you should probably cover up because since men are these evil beings and all we want to do is rape y'all, all we want to do is beat y'all, all we want to do is do these negative things and all we do is objectify y'all no matter what, it probably wouldn't be a help to overly sexualize yourself. And I think it's funny because if the women still do what they do, if they get these, all they get is abused, all they get is beat, all they get is raped, all they get is all these negative things and it's the men that's doing it to them, but they still do said behavior, I don't think it's that bad. If that's the case, because I don't think the women will be doing what they be doing. I don't think if it was just this big issue of this majority situation or these majority situations, or I guess these situations that happen in majority, women are having all of these issues personally with men. Why do women still do the things that they do? Why do women still go out? Why do they still go to clubs? Why do they still go out and look for attention? Not all women, but I'm speaking of specifically these younger women. Why do they do these things if men are just these evil beings and all we do, we just gonna beat them up and just rape them? Like, come on, are you insane? You niggas just be talking and babbling for nothing.
Different ways that stigma taps into it. And I think one of those is us being very critical about how we relate to women that's not related to us. Like, how do you respect women that's not your sister, that's not your mama, that's not your, you know what I'm saying, you feel me? Oh, even when you find unattractive. Like, how do you respect for those women? And I think that the conversation starts before we start thinking about fatherhood. It starts to me, thinking about it in middle school, you know what I'm saying?
Again, projection. And then we also have to take into account too this context that these goofy niggas would never add because these niggas are weak-minded. I would have been the youngest nigga there and I would have been cooking all these old ass goofy niggas. Let me give y'all another point too. We also act as if all women deserve the same respect. All women do not deserve the same respect. You have some women that can't be respected because they're disrespectful from the jump. All women are not on the same level. That's why in my philosophy, in the way that I speak, I always speak about the difference between modern women who are the bottom of the barrel and just regular women and good women. There's different levels of women. I'm sure we believe that there's different levels of men. You have weak men, you have average men, or you have regular men and modern men. There's a difference. Not all women are the same. All women can't be protected because if you are not under my control, how the hell can I protect you? If I tell you you shouldn't go to that place and dress that way because something can possibly happen and then something happens, it's not my job because I wasn't there to protect you because you didn't want to listen to me. And for the dumb, low IQ people that's going to react to this, what I just said, and be like, well, the woman can have anything happen to her at any time. You could be wearing a nun outfit and somebody can still do something to you. Yes, the same way that you can drive a car and die in a car accident and have your seatbelt on. But it's probably less likely to happen because you have your seatbelt on. The same way that you can eat healthy and work out every single day and your heart could blow up and explode in the middle of a gym. Sure, but it's probably less likely to happen because you eat healthy and you work out. You understand my point? We're talking about probability versus possibility. A lot of y'all believe just the possibility just overrides the probability, and it doesn't. All women are not worthy of protection. All women cannot be led, and all women are not good people. The same way all men cannot protect, all women can't lead, and all men are not good people. But you understand the male side, but not the female side, because again, you want to push an agenda specifically on black men. Let's keep going.
But also in this conversation though, it's like, hey, so before you became a father, before you became a father, when did you think about the general welfare of women?
I'm not a father, and I still think about the general welfare of women right now. So sounds like a projection consciously. I would destroy this nigga in the debate. I would cook this nigga so bad in this debate. I wish I could, like, oh man, these niggas are easy. These niggas are like dog food, bro.
Well, I'm adopted, so I think that some of that has always been in my mind, just to what will make someone give their child up. You know, since I've always known since I was 7. Feel me? So, what environment was she in? Did she feel protected? Did she feel wanted, cared for, seen? All the things. So early on, I think it's kind of gone to a place of just humanity of it all, just like a person. I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. Right. I want to feel how I feel. That's me. I want the same for everybody.
Yes.
I want you to live your life. I don't want nobody to take their life. But for the most part, if it makes you happy, go do your thing. That's me.
Right.
That's who I am. I understand that a lot of people are not like that. A lot of people also don't have my experience.
Yeah.
That has probably made me this way.
For sure.
My upbringing, you dig? Single parent household, only my mama. Watching my mama deal with men. A safety engineer at NASA, you know, surrounded by white men, telling her she don't know what she's doing, and she telling them, you got to put the gloves on. You know what I mean? It's my perspective is from that's my earliest.
That's real.
I want to, because how in this moment, because we have.
He just said a bunch of nothing. He didn't even answer the question. I mean, it was a stupid question, but he didn't even answer it.
When we're talking about the government, we have abortion bans, Georgia, my home state, Texas. That's leading to women dying, you know, babies dying, people being less safe. And here we have folks.
So it's okay if the babies die because they might not be able to get abortion in their city, but it's okay. So now you care about baby life. Think about that. Now you care about the baby's life. You just destroyed your whole entire talking point. This is a true idiot, man.
Folks, we've been hearing about folks being hung, lynched. We've been hearing about so many things this year that scare me as to how I got a big ass family, how all them people are gonna survive.
I'm glad you said that. And thank you, Taryn, by the way. I'm glad you said that, Ty. I think that's a great point I want to add to. That's not a man, though. Do whatever you want when you want. Being a man is controlling yourself, your urges. Exactly. So his philosophy is, as long as you do what you want to do, as long as it makes you happy, do what you want to do. So by that logic, if, let's say, objectifying women makes me happy, then I should be able to do what I want to do, right? Oh, no, that's different. That means you don't believe what you say. Stupid. You can use that logic with anything. What if stealing from the store makes me happy? Well, no, that's different. That means you don't believe what you say. Your logic has to uphold across the board. That's called masculinity. That's called manhood, because I'm going to hold you accountable based on what you say. You can't pick and choose when you want to believe what you want to believe, because, again, that's that woman hive mindset. You're a man, which means you need to stand on it, and you need to know what you say and know the counters to what somebody's going to say back to you. Everything I say, I know what the counters is going to be, so I'm prepared for it. You niggas, none of these niggas at this table are prepared. All of these niggas are very, very, very low intellect. It's crazy, bruh.
Uh,
Are they Democrats? Of course they damn Democrats.
and
They liberal white women, actually. Let me take that back. My facts. They not Democrats. They liberal white women. They just liberal white women. They white women, honestly, Katia. They white. All of these men are white women. Ladies, you've been dealing with a lot of white women. You just don't know it.
I'm thinking about, and I'm not thinking about protect black women like we've always heard it. Like protect black women.
right,
Oh, that's my girlfriend. That's my,
right.
you know, don't hurt my mama.
Right.
You know, don't talk about my mama. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
But you know, when we talking earlier about a village, right, and how a village, everybody has a responsibility for each person, and each responsibility in nourishing, creating that nourishing environment, making sure there's healthy food, you know, clean water, et cetera, et cetera. What are we doing right now? Right now to learn what women need, black women particularly, and play our part in that power building.
I have a question for you guys, because this is something I've been trying to explore, and then I got more on the journey of once I got married, which is like therapy, right? And self-discovery, right? Understanding that my wife had her own journey of therapy.
Thank you.
Being introduced to anger management,
Yes,
right?
bro.
It's not because you punching holes in the wall,
you.
but it's because you just get certain triggers that you don't know how to handle, and you don't know how to. So I think for me, I'm going on a journey, and I'm curious if you all are going on this too, or eager to go on it, because I am learning how to be more enthusiastic about it. Because therapy saying, I don't feel like talking to somebody, I don't want to, you know. So just having that kind of, for me, that's where I'm at, and figuring out that's how I'm gonna make my wife feel safe.
Yes.
She wants to know.
If you have to outsource your wife's safety to another person, you're not a good husband. Now, I want to add on this point too. Therapy is not just sitting and talking to somebody. Therapy can be anything that you do that makes you feel better about a situation and that actually creates a level of a change. Going on a long car ride, listening to music could be therapy. Going to the gym could be therapy. Sitting, relaxing, and just meditation in silence could be therapy. I don't know, cooking could be therapy. Cleaning could be therapy. Whatever. Like therapy isn't just, and don't let anybody shame you to believe that the only form of therapy is you laying back in a chair while some person with a notepad sits there and tells you to talk to them about their problems, about your problems. That's not the only form of therapy. And I'm not saying that therapy can't be helpful and therapeutic, but what I'm telling you is it's a whole bunch of different forms of therapy. Don't let them shame you. Well, you don't go to therapy, so that means you don't know have emotional intelligence. You don't even know what that means. Man, as long as that therapy helps you get through what you're going through, and it actually creates a level of change, meaning, okay, I figured this out, I need to be better. That's therapy.
That in any conversation, I ain't gonna just be like, I gotta go outside and smoke real quick. Like, I ain't, you know, she wants to feel safe. And the more we can make them feel safe, and because we all want to provide. Most men, you want to be the provider, you want to go out there and do the thing, but you forget about it ain't just monetarily, it ain't just hanging out with your son and your daughter. It's like, how do I have these conversations and actually know how to have them?
Yes.
Because sometimes you don't understand that. You don't get taught how to, deal with impulse control and all those type of things. I would be curious to know if any of you all had your own therapy journey and trying to figure out how to, obviously keep your spouse safe or anybody in your life to safe. I know we're particularly talking about the women in our lives. So.
He literally said just what I was about to talk. I don't care what said. If you think you are okay, go to therapy. If you don't, I've been in therapy like 4 to 5 years, and it's bigger than, like Luke was saying, I'm going to stay in my house, but just because you stay in your house don't mean you're going to have a healthy environment, because you could stay for 20, 30 years for them kids, but if they saw anger and this, that, and the third, you can't be mad that they go out and do the same thing of what they saw. It is encouraged that if you take it self, you need to take it self. You need to have couples there. We as men, even wanting to be better, we only have the information that we've been given amongst each other, but we don't have different perspectives. It's okay to take perspectives from white people because they don't have the mindset of survival that we have. So when you hear different, you think different, you move different. It's more,
You don't have no level of survival, nigga. If you had level of survival, if you had a mindset of survival, you wouldn't support abortion. You mean talking about survival? They don't have the level of survival that we have. You don't have a level of survival. You wouldn't support the stuff that you do. You wouldn't support homosexuality. You wouldn't support sitting at a table and not calling out a tranny and a gay man for even having this conversation to begin with, because what are they doing to add to the black community? They're not procreating. Like what? Survival, nigga.
optimistic.
Stop it. You want the women, you're yielding to the women. What you mean survival? The woman can't protect herself. She has to protect herself and outsource her own protection to a man. You talking about survival? These niggas is crazy.
To know how to move within your household. It is my children. I don't care that they're only 9, 10, 7, 6. They have problems, and every black man at this table had problems. We had situations we couldn't talk to people about. Get your children in therapy. If you can't afford to do it, healthcare can cover it. Get your children in therapy because they need to have that healthy outlet to have somebody. They don't always feel safe talking to mom and daddy, regardless of how well we are. They don't feel safe doing that.
I would say be careful about getting your therapy from white people, but
I didn't say get it. Don't get it. I didn't say white therapists.
No, I know.
Listening to
also
in general when they talk about.
Watch when you're listening to them too.
But
what I do want to.
You need to be careful with getting therapy from anybody, no matter if they white, black, Asian, no matter what they ethnicity is or race is. Is what they saying correct? I don't care if it comes from a white person, a black person, an Asian person, a Latin person. Is what they're saying correct? If you say 1 + 1 = 2, you don't have to be a mathematician to know that that's correct. If a white person tells somebody black, hey, if a white person tells a black woman, you shouldn't sleep around, is he wrong because he white? Like, it's just getting down to like the root of it. Like, I know that's a surface level question, but it's like, is what he said correct? It shouldn't be about what the race is. It should be about what they say is correct. Now, obviously, you may want to go to somebody that is culturally connected to you. I'm not disagreeing with that, for sure. I'm with you on that. But that doesn't mean because they black, they know what they talking about either. And we passed the whole, if you look like me, then I'm going to support you. No, this all kinfolk and kinfolk. Miss me with that.
Also say is that I think is really important is that our safety doesn't, that our responsibility in black women's safety isn't on us to protect our partner generally. It's not just us that's going to have that responsibility.
For sure.
We have to realize that honestly, statistically, the safety from a partner in America is that you're actually less safe from your partner generally.
Real quick, that term partner started to get used a lot, specifically in the mid and the late 2000s when Barack Obama became the president. Barack Obama became the president, and one of the things that he wanted to implement really bad was same-sex marriage. And once same-sex marriage got once same-sex marriage got legal, that term partner, or not got legal, but they were even talking about it. But once it got legal, that term partner like hit its peak as far as like people using that term. And now that term is used today, but that term partner comes from the homosexual community. So they can make the actual terms that you should call somebody, which is your girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband. It makes it genderless. So instead of me saying girlfriend, because the gender is literally attached to it, boyfriend, the gender is literally attached to it, wife, the gender is attached to it, husband, the gender is attached to it. Let's say partner. So we can implement the homosexuality, and we can implement, well, let's not make people feel mean that a wife can only be a woman and a husband can only be a man. You want to use the term partner to implement homosexual relationships. So don't let them push that on you. And if you are using that term, because sometimes I fall into it, get it out of your vocabulary. Do not let them people indoctrinate you, man. That is clear indoctrination. Don't let them people indoctrinate you, my nigga. Stop using that term partner. That's not your partner. I wish I would be with a woman and do right by her, and she gonna do right by me, and I love her to the highest extent, and I'm gonna just correlate her to my partner. No, nigga, that's my wife. It's not my damn partner. A partner is somebody that you go to business with. Like, hey, me and you are gonna be business partners. We're gonna open up this food truck. We're gonna open up this restaurant. That's your partner because y'all are partners based on business, not a relationship. Come on, man. Again, that comes from, that term is used in to promote that homosexual stuff. No, the term partner started around the 16th century, so you're wrong on that. No, you don't listen, you stupid ass nigga. I didn't say the term partner was created in the early 2000s. You don't listen because you operate like a woman. What I said was the term started to peak, and I'm going to show you proof actually because you don't know what you're talking about and you're miseducated. So let me actually teach you something, little ass nigga, that you don't know. The term partner started to peak in the late 2000s because Obama was talking about making same-sex marriage legal. You don't believe me? I'll show you the proof. I didn't say the actual word, the etymology was created in the late 2000s, stupid nigga. But it's cool. I'll just do this. I'd rather not talk about it. I'd rather be about it. So for the niggas that don't know, for the stupid ass nigga in the chat that said that I said that the term was created in the late 2000s, but you don't listen because I didn't say the term was created in the late 2000s. What I said that the term peaked in the late 2000s because when Obama became president, he wanted to promote homosexual behavior. Don't believe me? Here's the facts, you stupid nigga. This is from the 1800s all the way to 2019, 2020. Well, no, this says 2022. It peaked in the late 2000s, you stupid ass nigga. You don't know facts and you don't listen. Way to get debunked again, nigga. It peaked in the late 2000s. So that's why the term is used a lot now, so they can make relationships genderless. It peaked in the late 2000s. Facts. Do your research, little ass nigga, before you talking about shit you don't know about. Now let's keep the video going. You niggas are dog food. You niggas are dog food. You niggas are easy. You niggas don't do research. You niggas just talk. Well, I thought somebody failed on TikTok. You niggas are easy. Stupid nigga. Little nigga. It peaked in the 70s, so you still wrong. Okay, so either this nigga doesn't know how to read. I'm gonna just assume you don't know how to read. I don't even care to even like you don't know how to read. You's a dumb nigga. I'm not your guy. First of all, I'm not your guy. I don't know if that's your homosexual verbiage. I'm not your guy. I would never be your guy. I'm not a. Now, you said it peaked in the 70s. Last time I checked, the 1970s is right here. This is the 1970s. So I know you don't know how to. You might not know how to read, but the 1970s is right here. This says the late 2000s. This is in 2010. Obama became the president in 2008. It peaked in 2010. It started to go up in what? The late, again, early 2000s, but it peaked in the late 2000s, like I said. So again, you're incorrect. Again, the 70s is down here, little buddy. This nigga's an idiot. I'm not your guy, by the way. I'm not a homosexual. Now let's keep the conversation going. I'm not going to even give you any more attention because every time you chat, you comment in my live, you say stupid shit and you're incorrect. And you the same nigga that's on my page right now. I just posted the video of me destroying you in the debate about the Domi tribe, which you didn't even know where they were. You didn't know anything that they cultivated. And you didn't know any facts about even the history of the tribe that you brought up. You're not an intelligent person. You're very stupid. So we're going to have to mute you because what I don't want you is time wasting myself and time wasting everybody else because you're nothing but a nigga that's easily debunkable and I don't care to keep going back and forth with you. You're not smart, nigga. You're very unintelligent. You operate like your single mother because you're a homosexual. Let's keep going.
Violence is so the safety
Shout out to
has
Midwest
to come
Tony.
from how you build an account.
Shout out to Midwest Tony with the $20 donation. The game. Thank you. Again, I ain't got nothing but facts in my rap. I don't make shit up. Everything I talk about on this motherfucker, I look up before I talk. I come with facts and proof. He's never the type to just say something just because. Thank you. I know what the fuck I be talking about. Because I do the information and do the research. I don't just talk. Let's keep going.
Ability outside of that relationship, outside of that family, what is that village you building, right?
Oh, by the way, the nigga that was in the chat, go look at my most recent video. I destroyed this nigga in a debate this morning. Well, that wasn't this morning. That was like maybe like a week ago. But y'all go watch that video.
And so I'm interested,
I'm listening, so like I'm just gathering information. I have a lot.
Well, I'm saying both of y'all.
No, same. Yeah.
I know,
Nah, G, when partner was used back before the late 2000s, it was only for business purposes. Exactly, that's what I said. Yeah, they weren't talking about partner when it came to relationships. But when that shit started to peak, partner was about relationships. Because again, Obama wanted to implement homosexuality. So the way to do that is instead of girlfriend and boyfriend, call them a partner. Call them a significant other rather than just calling them your wife. Let's keep going.
How are y'all thinking beyond like I'm gonna protect my partner? Because I think that there's a value in that. I think there's a value in I'm gonna protect my partner, ain't nothing gonna happen to my partner. At the end of the day though, when you have such big systems that are targeting you and doing their best to pull y'all apart, doing their best to divide y'all and pit y'all against each other, you can't depend on. And that's something that we're taught. Masculinity is how powerful we can be and how we can protect what we own and what we, you know what I'm saying? That is not what protection is. That's not what safety is.
Well, it's a part of it. It's not the standalone foundational definition, but it is a part of it. Masculinity is a part of that goes into it. But it's not the only thing. I will agree with him on that. He does sound like a homosexual, by the way.
So I'm thinking about, outside of that, how do y'all think about safety outside of just I'm the protector? You know what I'm saying? How do we build that?
The thing that pops into my head right now as we're having this conversation is the system is capitalism, and what that looks like is we're talking about therapy, which is, I think, is
okay. This, by the way, this is again from y'all, what y'all told me. Thank y'all for telling me. This is a woman, so we not about to address this mentally disabled person as a man, because me and this person would never be the same. We're not on the same level. This is a woman, so they're going to be addressed as she and her, because this is a woman.
very important, but we don't think about the colonial aspect of therapy, which I mentioned in our conversation earlier, and how capitalism and this individualistic view of our responsibility as well is tied to breaking up of our communities. You talked about a village, so when we're thinking about our families, like you as a father, I'm not a dad, I don't have any children, I don't plan on it.
I'm not gonna go there.
When people think, okay, I have a family and I'm raising my children, it's like mom, dad, kids, and we forget like that is a lot of pressure, and it's not.
I just can't believe a group of grown ass men is sitting here listening to a woman who wants to be a man that's mentally disabled talking about men and women differences in the black community. I think this is completely insane. And then this nigga not even black. He looked like he mixed with something. Like he ain't even, not saying that you can't be black and mixed, but he looks like he's like a Latino, like he's like Dominican. Like you're not even a black American. Half of your lineage isn't even black American. So it's like, come on, man.
Not supposed to be that way.
Right.
I think it's supposed to be a community of people that are helping each other, and we have not created that community. It's just like, I'm over here with my family here, I'm over there with my family there, and there's no communication.
Yeah.
She, sorry, not he.
And I think that's ultimately something that's really important, is us being able to come together and create from there, create the community where everyone has a responsibility to themselves and each other.
Our natural ways have been dismantled.
Real quick,
I think that's
do you have examples of what that looks like in your life?
Give me a more specific question. Sorry.
If it's not, you think about it, but just like what that protection, what that looks like. That you talked about colonial effect on therapy. Yeah. Now I know that, to me, I'm like, hell yeah, talk about the colonial therapy. But I also don't. I know that a lot of people don't know what the hell that means, right?
I'm saying, like, when you think about therapy and when you're going,
and I'm not asking you necessarily about that. I'm asking you generally what that protection and that outside help and so it looks like in your life.
Like growing up, I'll use my life as an example. Obviously, I grew up with both my parents, my mom and my dad. From the outside, it would look very traditional, but my mom was the one that was really holding everything down. My dad was very supportive with me when it came to providing monetarily.
I just want to say this real quick. Let's stop diminishing the work of men in the households. And we automatically assume, I hear this a lot when people speak about like their parents and like if it was more of in a traditional way. They'll say like, well, my mom and my dad was around, but my mother is the one who really held it down. And I think it's because the mother, if in a traditional role, the mother is usually at the home and the woman and the child is usually with the mother if the man is out working. So we assume, like, we diminish the work of the father, which is why people have the thought process that they have, because the father is not actually at home. He's at work providing for his family. But we act like that's not important because I'm with mommy all the time and mommy gives me food, and mommy, when dad come home, mommy makes sure he has dinner, and mommy makes sure that we have a I guess like a consistent routine. He comes home, he gets dinner, he showers, I put the kids away. But we act as if like she's not allowed to do that. If we act as if she can do that without the help of the father. I'm not saying that the woman's role is not important. I think the woman's role is very important. Very, very important. I don't think that you can have a functioning community without the women, because they're important. They just can do things that we just can't do as men, and vice versa. Excuse me. But we have to stop diminishing the role of the father because we were just around the mother more. Fathers are very important, and because a man is out working, that doesn't mean he's not holding it down. That doesn't mean that he's not like an integral part in the household. He's out working, so he's just not there all the time. That doesn't mean he has a lesser role or it's not important. It's very important. So, and it's the mother's job to make sure that the child knows their father's deeds. Yeah, she might have not done that. So we need to stop with that. Let's keep going.
He also was the one that had a more formal education, so he was able to help me when I needed help with schoolwork. But when it came to my care, it was my mom that was there. And then I noticed the way that he behaved, or like his behavior around women, and how he was with my mom, how he was with his sisters and his mother, and how he was with me. So I'm, as a trans person, and as being his daughter and his little girl at the time, he treated me
and still are
with such care, and it was the complete antithesis in the way that he treated my mother and the way that he treated his sister. So it was interesting to see him treat my mom like shit, and then be like, no, but my sister's like, I'll kill somebody if someone messes with my sister. I'll kill somebody if someone messes with my mother. And I'm like, why don't you bring that same energy to my mother?
Great question that he actually asked. I'm not saying these things never happen, but again, this goes without context. Have you ever heard your father's side of the story? Have you ever heard your father's side of the situation? And usually we don't hear that. Now, I highly doubt that if your father is the man who you claim he is, and he would have killed somebody for your mother or for his sister, he would have likely did the same thing for his wife. But there's also a different role when it comes to people who are in a romantic relationship, because the way that you do with your mother and the way that you do with your sister is not the same way that you're going to do with the woman that you're in a romantic relationship with. Completely different things.
So
branch off of that. Oh wait. Go.
I mean, and when in my process, like in my transition, and when I started thinking about how I wanted to show up as a man in this world.
You a woman. You not a man. You a woman. You are a lady. Be a lady.
It was like I wanted to borrow that softness that he embodied when he was interacting with other women in his family, but not the way that he treated my mother, and what that partner violence looked like, and why. So that
and again, another projection, because your father treated your mother that way. Okay, cool. That's not the norm for everybody else. So a lot of this conversation is full of projections. But yeah, this woman that's speaking is tripping. She tripping.
Started to question what was his view of my mother, because clearly he didn't see her as family. Not really. He saw her as an incubator that gave birth to his child that he now loves and cares for. And then he has his sisters and his mother that he also cares for and wants to protect. But all the women that he would be engaged sexually with were just that. There were things that I would get pleasure, and they can make me a meal, and that was that.
Personally, I grew up with all women. Like, single parent home, had no grandparents except my.
Notice that this is like the fourth person that has said, I grew up around all women. Or the man in their life was just this terrible, evil person that was an abuser and a liar and a cheater and a rapist. He was the worst man ever. But I grew up around all women. This is trauma that you're seeing right here at this table. Trauma that has not been healed. They not only hate men, but they hate themselves that they are men. Specifically, that one that wants to be that woman that wants to be a man. But this is what you're seeing right here. This is projection at its finest, and this is trauma that is being exuded out at its finest, and it's indoctrination as well, being pushed out at its finest. That's what you're seeing. And I said that before the start of this video. I knew this was gonna happen.
Grandmother, no grandfather. Both had passed away before I was born. Father wasn't around, and taking care of everybody. So I've always conceded power to women.
Marcus.
That's been my nature. I was in my nature and my nurture is because that's all that was there. So for my journey, I was in autobiographies trying to figure out where's a man and who could teach me how to do it. What does it look like? I'm looking to Sammy Davis Jr. and Sidney Poitier and anybody that's got an autobiography about whatever, Bill Cosby, only to get that dream shattered. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of men who've grown up in those environments are trying to figure out how to hold themselves accountable while also holding themselves hostage, right? I was trying to take up for my father not being there. I was trying to take up for my grandfather's not being there, overcompensating and not necessarily knowing exactly what my place and my position was. So I think a lot of, I can't speak for everybody, but I think a lot of black men just don't know when they say be a man, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And not even what does that mean? That doesn't
I agree with that. I do agree with that.
mean the same thing for this woman. That doesn't mean the same thing for this woman. You know, what is her back? You know, so I think a lot of it is both, is double dutching. It's like, how do I give myself enough grace while also pushing myself and challenging myself to learn and listen and hear? And like I said, like even there's not a single same
Perspective.
It's
all different.
It's all
No, it's the same shit. You niggas just saying it in different ways. You niggas are delusional. But I do agree with that as far as what that man is. But I think that's the point that's being made. And the point that I'm making around this table, with them around this table, is the fact that they didn't have any father figure around. So they didn't know what it was, what being a man was. So they only got what being a man was from their mother. And I say this all the time. The modern woman of America, and this isn't just, by the way, this conversation, at least what I'm about to say now, and some of the other points, none of this is specific to black women, by the way. This isn't a black woman issue. This is a woman issue all throughout America. But women raise the very same men that they complain about. Women, and I don't think they do it intentionally, but women raise son husbands. They raise their sons to be weak, soft, and effeminate, which is why you have this table around in which you see that man either becomes a homosexual, that man either rips and runs and goes into the streets, or he becomes a weak male in just everyday society that can't stand on anything and he'll fall for anything, which is what you see at this table for the most part. I can relate to a lot of them actually, because I grew up around all women. Again, my father was not a deadbeat, but my father wasn't in a household every day. I would go see my dad. I lived with my dad for a period of time, but the majority of my life I was with my mother. And this is no indictment on my mother. This is no indictment on my sister. This is no indictment on my aunties and cousins and all of this stuff. This is no indictment on them, but they could never raise me to be a man. And when you grow up as a young black man in America and you around a bunch of women all day long, you take on a lot of those traits and you don't realize that you have those traits until you get away. I think one of the most important videos on my channel is the video that I dropped about how young men will never get respected from their family. And I was specifically speaking about how for young men specifically, if you a young man that's watching this, bro, or you in your early 20s, bro, get away from your mama, bro. I'm not saying your mother is a bad mother. What I'm telling you is a lot of if you grew up around all women, you probably don't even know that you act like a woman. Because you don't know it because you around your mama all the damn time. When I was 18 years old, I left the house and I went to college. I've never went back home to live, ever. I'm 28 years old. I'll be 29 this year. I've never, ever went back to my mama's house to live. I've only been by myself since I was 18. So I've had nothing but experiences. I've traveled all over the country. I've lived in the West Coast. I've lived in the East Coast. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, not lived in the West Coast. I'm probably going to live in the West Coast. I've lived on the East Coast. I've lived in the Midwest. I've lived in the South. And I've lived in multiple different major cities in all of these different places. Chicago, New York, Pittsburgh. I'm from Cleveland. I lived in Atlanta. I'm in my second city in Texas right now. I lived in West Virginia. I lived all over the country. All over the country. And I'm probably going to move to Vegas soon. And during these times of going to these different places and traveling and experiencing and being broke and not having nowhere to get no money and having to figure it out, and I can't call mommy, I can't go down the street and figure and lay there for a couple days. No, I had to figure it out, and it had to be a man. Being a man is not about being rah-rah. It ain't about being a killer. It ain't about beating everybody up. Being a man is about holding your damn self accountable. Being a man is about taking charge and not letting your emotions operate over your logic and what you're supposed to do. It's about stoicism. It's about not making excuses. It's about quit being fucking lazy and blaming your parents on why you ain't what you can't do shit or wasn't shit. Being a man is about figuring it out. That's what being real manhood is about. It's about figuring shit out and not making excuses for it. Even if somebody did do you wrong, nigga, figure it out anyway. It's not about bottling up emotions and never feeling. We feel ways, man. We cry. We go through stuff. It ain't nothing wrong with going to therapy. Ain't nothing wrong with crying to an extent. But being a man is about finding a solution to your issue. That's what being a man is about. And a lot of times you don't do that when you're around your mom or you're around your sisters and your cousins because, and again, you start to follow that hive mind of like, well, mommy gonna be there, so I don't really have to go that hard. Well, mommy gonna be there, so I don't really have to do this. Well, my cousin gonna be there because she gonna make sure I don't got. Thank you. It's about critical thinking skills. And that's why I have a lot of wisdom that I got. And a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, until they listen to me, they don't take me seriously because they're like, man, this nigga 28, man, what he know about women? Man, what he know about life? What he know about society? What he know about this and that? Nigga, you don't know my life. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I've seen. You don't know the experiences I've had at a young age. I couldn't call motherfuckers for help. I ain't got nobody that's going to be there. I had to figure it out as a young man, 21, 22, 23, being broke as fuck, making terrible fucking decisions with money. Getting in apartments and shit I can't afford. I did all of that shit when I was young. Spend my money on women, getting your heart broken, being broke. Nigga, I had my car stolen, all type of shit. I had all this shit happen to me when I was in my early 20s. So, and I was by myself. I wasn't around family. I ain't had no cousin 20 minutes away. I'm talking about, no, nigga, they in 3-4 states over. I live in Texas. I don't have no family. I'm out here by myself and my dog. That's it. And I'm not saying you have to go to that extreme for the younger man. You don't have to go to that extreme to figure it out. But what I'm saying is being around that beehive, bro, and not going out there and flying out there yourself, it's going to hinder you 9 times out of 10. So that's the best advice that I can give. For a lot of these guys, it didn't happen for them that way. It came later, which is why they have the mentality that they have. They've never really had to go through these experiences young. I went through these experiences young that most dudes don't go through until they're in their 30s and their 40s. I did it already. That's not to say that I'm better than you, but that's to say that I did it already. You feel me? So that's the best thing that I could tell for any younger man listening to this, bro. Get away from your mama and the people that's going to cater and coddle to you, bro. Go move away and go figure it out. And I promise you, it's going to be the best decision you ever made in your life. When I look back at niggas that I know personally, friends and family members and cousins, it ain't a lot of them that's doing anything different than I would have been doing if I was in the same position as them. It ain't a lot of them doing anything different. And there ain't nothing wrong with being mediocre, but it is for me. But it's like I'm looking at some of my niggas and I'm like, damn, this nigga he's still doing that shit. Yeah, he's still doing it. My cousin, he's still doing it. This nigga 31, he's still living with his mama. Nigga 28, he's still living with his mama. It's the same shit. Because them niggas don't want to figure it out. I done did it already, man. I done been on oodles and noodles and didn't get my hair cut for months, nigga, because I couldn't afford it. I done did it all. And I put in the work. Man, this YouTube channel ain't start just off I just blew up, nigga. I dropped 200-300 videos before I made some money on this channel. I put in the work with everything. Nigga, so Marcus says, I left home at 19. I'm 37. I have only been home to visit a handful of times. Yeah, facts. I've only been home to visit. I ain't never been home to stay. Ever. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my guy, Sean. Thank you for the $20 donation, Sean. Shout out to my guy, Sean. Sean says, thanks, Ant, for all you bring / add to the FBA discourse. Hey, man, you know that, OG. I appreciate you. And this ain't no indictment on my mama, man. Shout out to my mama. But my mama can't make me be a man. You got to figure it out, man. I had to figure it out. And I'm still learning as a man. I ain't fully developed, man. I ain't done. I'm still out here figuring stuff out and making decisions. But I will say, I ain't had no kids. I ain't got no criminal record. I ain't ripping and running the streets. I don't call nobody for help. I don't ask nobody for shit. I figure it out on my own. And can't nobody say that they had to help me to get nowhere. I figured it out myself, nigga. And a lot of you men, that's not to say that you can't get help from people, by the way, but it's to say that shouldn't be the thing that you're relying on. It shouldn't be the thing that keep you where you at. Well, I ain't gonna work this week because she gonna send me this. He gonna do that. Nah, go figure it out on your own, bro. All right, let's keep going.
Not a single same
perspective.
It's
all different.
It's all different. We're all figuring it out, and I think that's, like I say, it's like, how much grace can we give ourselves? How can we hold ourselves accountable without the guilt and the shame kicking in? Because once guilt and shame will do a whole lot. Guilt and shame will freeze you up. Guilt and shame will keep you from actually sitting in a space that actually is safe. You don't know that it's safe because you so used to putting on, it's just, I think it's that, it's having space to even do this. This is village.
And right? Accountability, like you said, giving yourself that grace, and then understanding when it's like, all right, tighten up. All right, it's time to say, and then educating yourself. A lot of us, we don't remember to read, right? Y'all remember them posters that they used to say read? and you got your celebrity on there, and you don't even see them posters no more. Right? You don't even see things to really push each other. Right? Educate. So the more we can kind of educate ourselves, and like you said, to your point, to the village, right? Understanding that it's there, it's obtainable, right? I just shot a movie in Nickerson Gardens, and I'm like, yo, all these kids in the project still got villages that we are taking away. You try to get away from the, oh, it's tough times in the black neighborhood. It's like, man, these kids still out here playing. They still out here having a good time, right? And understanding like why or what that is for certain communities and why it's necessary for them. They don't got nobody else. So they got to send their kids outside to say, hey, can you watch my kid today for a second? I got to go to work, whatever. So sometimes you get above yourself and think, I don't need nobody. I done made enough money. I can pay for this nanny over here. Rather than being like, oh, nah, Luke, you want your kid to come hang out with my kid today? And then we go do this, All right, cool, we hang out. Remembering that it's all there and it's obtainable, but sometimes we push it away ourselves too, you know?
Something that I really do think about when we thinking about power, right? Because I think we misunderstand power. We've been taught all types of false definitions and notions of power. And a lot of the time, the way that we understand power is really abuse, right? It's like
why are you projecting that, bro? A lot of the ways we understand power is abuse. Why are you projecting and saying we? No, bro, that's the way that you project power. I don't project power on abuse. I don't project power by I have to force a woman to do what I want her to do. Again, bro, like this conversation is so much projection that they are throwing on all men, specifically black men, to say that this is how we think. This is not how black men think in general. This is not how we think. This is how these niggas think. And this is how negative narratives get pushed, because you have conversations like this where if it was me at the table, you know what, I need to do that. I need to get 5 or 6 black men and I want to have, see, the difference is I'm going to have guys like this at the table. So it's going to be like I don't want to make it to where it's just like a debate thing, but it's probably going to naturally turn into that, to where there are going to be 3 or 4 black men on my side, 3 or 4 black men on that side. And we're going to have a conversation. It's not going to be an echo chamber. And we're going to see who come out on top and who makes more sense and who have a better argument than the flip side. Because this projection that's being had at this table is ridiculous. I've never seen a higher level of projection than this right here, man. This is crazy to me. I don't view power as force, man. I don't view power as, or I say it not force, but abuse. I don't think I have to abuse a woman or abuse a man or abuse anybody to get what I want in the end. Like that's not what I exude power or masculinity to be, man. It's crazy that these people think like this.
We bully each other. We abuse our power over each other and say things that we're not supposed to. We bully or abuse our power over women. We abuse our power over kids. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the time, that's what we see. And I want to know just a simple question when we're thinking about, I think with the opposite of abuse, when we think about love, and love can be powerful. Love can be extremely powerful. What does it mean to love black women? And I want y'all to think about, because you you was talking about what did you say? Accountability. Holding ourselves accountable while holding ourselves hostage.
Trying to hold ourselves accountable without holding ourselves hostage.
Talking about parents and all type, So I'm just we can tie all of that shit in. It's not a limited conversation, but just thinking about just first to introduce it into like.
Hey, I'm gonna stop cussing too, because it's a whole nother hour of this. And I'm not trying to edit all these cuss words out. Let me stop cussing from now on, because that's a lot of editing I gotta do. Because I done said nigga. All right, no more. Because I ain't trying to edit all this, man. It's a lot of editing I'm gonna have to do. All right.
What does it mean to love black women?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got a perspective about love. One perspective about love. I think that love is uncontrollable. I think it's spontaneous. I think in its rarest form.
Wrong. Love is definitely controllable. People love who they want to love. It's definitely controllable.
You cannot.
By that logic, since love is uncontrollable, then you should be able to love a child romantically the same way you love a woman romantically. I'm sure you wouldn't agree with that. I would hope not.
Contain it. And I think
you don't have an answer to your own question, I don't think you have an answer to the question. I think you're just babbling and talking. That's what I think, because you can't even formulate a correct sentence. It's just, I think, you're not even like, just stop and think. It's okay for you to just stop. You don't have to repeat the same thing over and over again to be repetitive, because you don't have nothing to say. Just stop and say, Let me slow down. Let me think about what I'm going to say and then give a response. Your mouth is working faster than your brain, sir. Calm down.
And I think,
okay, we're going to go back and listen to how many times this nigga said, I think. We need to do a counter.
One perspective about love. I think that love is uncontrollable. I think it's
2,
spontaneous. I think
3,
in its rarest form, you cannot contain it. And I think
4,
I think
5,
I think
6,
I think that's
7. It took you 7 times to say I think to finally say something else. To actually like make and formulate a point. This is ridiculous, man. He trying to formulate his thoughts. No, he's trying to create some BS, Leah. He's trying to create some BS, Leah. Leah, imagine you come home to your man and imagine you at the house, Leah, and your man come home and you be like, where you been at? And it's 3 a.m. He'd be like, I think I'm here now. You gonna be like, nigga. Like, come on, man. He trying to create some BS, Leah. It's because he doesn't know. Exactly, Nafisha.
And I think that's the first part. I think
he said it 8 times. He said it again. He just yapping.
It belongs to everybody. And how it's received and how it's received is not up to you. But it's how you give it is up to you. You know, but I think
you keep saying I think and I and
I think it's first there, understanding what the power of love really is. Because I think everybody has their perspective of what love is in my household. You know, what love is with my woman.
Right.
You know,
I think the actual Oxford definition of love is a deep feeling of affection, or a deep, intense feeling of affection or like. I'm pretty sure that's the definition of the term. I'm not 100% sure, but I think if you go look it up, can somebody go look it up and copy paste it into the chat? The actual Oxford definition of the word love, and I think it says an intense feeling of deep affection. I'm pretty sure. But if somebody could go look that up for me and copy paste it into the chat, I want to know how accurate I am on that. And I'm pretty sure that's the actual definition. He thinks, but he don't know. Exactly, and that's the problem.
Opposed to,
didn't this man say he's a doctor? No way his speech is this bad. It's ridiculous. I can articulate myself better than he can. And he's supposed to be a damn doctor? Somebody said beta babble. Women got to be annoyed with that ish. He got that bad. I feel like it's worse, though. I feel like it's a lot worse.
What does love mean to her? What does that mean to you?
Exactly. That's what I thought. An intense feeling of deep affection. That's the definition of love. And it's subjective because what is intense and then what is deep, right? Feeling in it even of itself is subjective. So
I'll tell you what it means to me. You tell me what it means to you. And let's find our way to middle ground.
Which means you can control it.
Of some sort. I think it's there. It's just trying to understand what that is. Because everybody throws that shit around. It's popular.
Right.
Makes a lot of money. It's nice. Everybody wants it. Everybody's fighting for a variation of it.
Right.
It's trying to understand what that is. And I just think that love is not a thing that we can control. It just is first.
I see this head nod going. I like that. Go ahead. I like it. I'm
going to combine like a couple of different topics.
Of course you want to jump in because you want to be somebody's power bottom. So you want love to be just this fluidity of trans love. And I want to be a power bottom. So, of course, you want to jump in, nigga. You've been quiet the whole entire time other than talking about abortion. Now you want to jump in because your pussy hole is getting spread wide open thinking about that love can be for anybody because you want to find a boyfriend at the table. Let's keep going.
And it won't be in any chronological order, so just bear with me. One thing that conscious will talk about is pandering, and me as a black gay man, for me, love shows up as different. There's no sex attached to my care for black women. So I would say for
duh, because you like pussy. You like booty hole. Duh.
Me as a child, one of the strongest women that were within my life was my grandmother. She was someone who
The reason why the women had to be strong is because too many of the men are weak, especially now. The men are weaker now than they were back in the day. Because at least back in the day, they had systematic things that set them up. You niggas now, you niggas are just lazy. Most of y'all, I should say. That's not to say we don't have a systematic thing that is like a generational thing, but we have all this technology. My generation ain't got no more excuses. All you young niggas, there's no excuses. You niggas have ChatGPT. You niggas have Google. You niggas have literally the whole entire information of the world, the majority of it, on at the palm of your hands, and you niggas still be, I think. But if somebody asks you, what do you think about anything else that ain't got nothing to do with history or facts, you know, like that. You know every single lyric of the Kendrick Lamar song. But you don't know what he was talking about when he was talking about Atlanta and the railroads and trains. I don't like none of you young niggas. Or you old niggas that talk like this. I don't like you niggas either.
she loved me with everything. She was someone who made sure that whenever I walk into a room, know that, you know, I'm not trying to sound cocky or nothing, but eyes will be on you. People will be listening to you. Whatever you want to be in your life, you can be, whether that be a president, a CEO, whether you own your own business, whether you be a millionaire, anything you want to do, you can do. And with that, my grandmother was someone, she was a banker. You know, she was someone who, she helped her community. All the people from Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas, North Little Rock, Arkansas, she knew all the millionaires. She knew all the business owners. She told people yes, no. She ran her bank. She ran her branch. She had people pull guns out on her and trying to rob her. That same woman who left work, she was someone who raised 2 strong sons. My father's a federal investigator. My uncle, my late uncle, he was a manager of the VA for the suicide unit. She was someone who raised strong black men. And the same black men that she supported, the same black.
You are the strong black man? If you're the strong black man, then I don't know what a strong black man is.
Black man that she fed that was also her husband be the same people that put their thumb on their motherfucking head. You know? So what I'm trying to say is someone who can be so strong. We also live where we're in a community where traditionally, once a white man took his thumb off of us, a lot of us put our thumb on the woman.
Yes.
So one thing that you...
With what actual facts besides I saw my father beat my mother? Which is an anecdotal thing, which most black men have never put their hands on a woman. So what is your this behind that?
talked about as far as like your dad and how you treated your mother.
Again, this whole entire conversation is just projection, bro.
Like one privilege it is to not be gay. Not gonna lie, I love being gay. Like, you know, like whether it's not a choice, it's not a choice.
Yes, it is. Being gay is a choice. There is no actual gay gene. There is no gay gene at all. There is no actual gay gene. Being gay is 100% a choice. It's 100% a choice.
Not a choice, but in my life, what I feel is, you know, it was karma for the straight men, and also like to reject what patriarchy and masculinity look like, because I had to choose how I'm going to live my life. So, you know how you were talking about how your dad, he was real good with his mom, he was real good with his sisters.
And me as a child.
Yes. A lot of men, they just live based off of the moral code. You don't even know what your own motherfucking morals are. Right. A lot of you just want to have children because that's what you're taught to. You didn't get no education. You're not saying you have to get education. You have no craft. You have no skill. So all you can do is really just have fun and have children. Nigga, fuck you. And then another thing that I want to say is too, a lot of people, you know, when I said like, you know, having accolades and things like this, a lot of my friends, and especially with moving to Houston, I have such a respect because like in Arkansas, a lot of people had kids.
Houston is little Atlanta now, by the way. If anybody's moving to Houston or is thinking about living in Houston, change your mind. If you live in Houston, get out of there. Your city about to be like Atlanta. It's already like Atlanta now. Get out of there. I would never live in Houston. Houston is another Atlanta.
Kids by the time that they were my age. I'm 26. Majority of my friends, like they're between 29 to 30 to 40, you know, beautiful women, well into the careers, clocking 200,000 plus. You know, my allyship to them is supporting them whenever we're out. Like, I am a protector. I'm not, there's a big kind of like conversation about like, oh, gay men don't want to be treated as like poodles or whatever. Realistically, I'm 6'2", I'm 200 pounds, 215. Like, it's like if a motherfucker step up to my friends, I'm going to defend them.
Okay, so that means that you're upholding the patriarchal system that you speak against. I find it funny how patriarchy is always an issue but it's never an issue when it comes to that. Patriarchy literally means that there is a certain level of dominance and control that a man is going to have simply because there's a biological difference between the two, whether that be socially or whether that be physically. You can't pick and choose on which ones you want and which ones you don't want. So if you're saying because I'm a man and there's multiple women around me and because I'm 6'2", 215 pounds, whatever he said, and you're going to step up and defend your female friends, that means you are upholding the same exact patriarchy that you speak against. That is a contradiction. You're delusional. You're an idiot. And I'm not saying you shouldn't. What I'm saying is me and you agree. You don't even know.
I feel like my presence as a black gay man is to use my masculinity, me being a man, as to not only allow myself, vertical, promotion within life. I don't know how to coin that the right way, but also bring up my sisters with me. Mm-hmm. And that can be whether it's education, go and get that education.
Somebody said I'm in the white Atlanta, Austin. No, the white Atlanta is San Francisco. The white Atlanta is San Francisco by far. That's San Francisco.
Whether it's in careers, because black women are the smartest group in America.
No, they're not. That is a lie. Black women are not the smartest group in America. I'm so sick of this talking point. Let's destroy this talking point real quick. And I don't have to look it up because I do research on my own because I'm not an idiot. Like these guys on this platform and the one nigga that was in the chat, probably some more y'all in here. Black women are not the smartest group in America. The reason why people say that black women are the smartest group in America is because black women are the highest, fastest paced was to not being enrolled to being enrolled in institutions. Black women only make up a certain portion of the population. They say that we only make up 13% of the population. I think it's a little bit more. I think it's closer to like 15. But even if let's just say it's 15, right? There are more black women than there are black men. So let's just take it as a slightly over 50%. There's more black women. So let's say that black women make up 8% of the population. They wouldn't even be the most enrolled because they're not even the majority of the population in America of women. The majority population of American women is actually white women. So it literally be statistically impossible for black women to be the highest enrolled. No, they were the fastest paced of people who were not enrolled who actually got enrolled. So this whole notion that they're the most educated is actually incorrect. And then we have to quantify what is being educated. There's different levels of education, whether you go to get an associate's degree, whether you get a master's degree, a bachelor's degree, whether you get a PhD. What is the level of education that you're talking about, and does the actual degree matter? So if you go to school for an African American studies degree, are you just as educated as somebody that went to school learning how to be a neurosurgeon? Are you just as educated as them? No, I don't think so. I think there's a different level of that. And now we also need to talk about the actual degrees that a lot of women in general, not just black women, go to, because the majority of degrees that if we're going to make a distinction on what actual education is, then we would have to talk about what degrees do women in general go for. Women usually go get degrees that have to do with child development, and they go get degrees that have to do with learning about people, right? Which really don't make a lot of money. There's not a lot of women in the STEM field, science, technology, engineering, and math. There's not a lot of women that go and get degrees that have to do with maybe being a surgeon or being anything like that, whereas high earning degrees, because those degrees are a lot harder to get and they offer more, they offer more structure in a capitalistic society like America. So what are we talking about when we say degrees? Also, it's another point I want to make, because a lot of people like to say that, well, black women get more degrees than black men. True. So do Asian women. So do Latin women. So do white women. There are more women that get degrees comparative to every single of their male counterparts, regardless of the ethnicity in America. So it's not that these black men are just not doing anything. Black men still out earn black women. And that's not specific to black women. That's specific to every single ethnic group in America when it comes to their men. I think the only difference is Asian women. And I think that's actually just here recently. But historically, men in general have always out-earned women, and for the most part they've gotten more degrees than us, I guess, in recent times. So this whole notion that they're the most educated is 100% lie. It don't even make a numbers. It doesn't make facts numbers wise, and it doesn't make facts so-called educational wise, because again, what is education? Men are more likely to go to school to become, not even to go to like a university. Men are more likely to go and get a technical degree, to become a plumber, a welder, to maybe become a technician or a mechanic somewhere. We're more likely to go in things where I don't have to go to a university. I can actually go to this 2-year program and get my certificate in being a welder and go become a welder, right? There are more men that want to be working an oil rig or go get an Alaskan sea fisherman. They'll go be an Alaskan sea fisherman or something like that. So although they may get more degrees, that actually don't out earn us, and not to mention the highest in debt. So miss me with this most educated talk, because what is education? Let's talk about it. And if anybody would like to debate me, you're more than welcome to. You can comment me in the chat. You can come up and look like a goofy up on this platform. It's up to you. Let's keep going. And again, that's not a diss on black women. That correlates to every single woman in this nation.
Go and get that education, whether it's in careers, because black women are the smartest group in America. They're also the most underpaid. If you want that money, ask for it. You know, whenever you go to that interview, let them know what you want. And the same thing as far as like a job.
Again, just making up points that you got online. They're not the smartest group in America. They're not. Like, just making stuff, just delusional. Just saying stuff.
How you can switch out a job is no different than a man. And you know how we're talking about like the moral basis of
and then he also, I want to get to this point too. He also said underpaid. We already spoke about the actual jobs that women in general go for. Women don't tend to go to high earning jobs, but not to mention women also get pregnant. Women are more likely to call off. Women are less likely to negotiate more income or higher earning income, which is why he said if you want that money, ask for it, which is he's putting the accountability on the woman, and he's actually debunking his own talking point. Women in general are less likely to do the work and less likely to want to demand for higher wages. Now, again, they get pregnant, so it's not necessarily a thing of like less work, but it's a biological thing, right? But again, miss me with this talking point that they're more educated and they do this better than anybody else. No. Things are the way they are based on a lot of people's own personal decisions. That's like saying, well, women get in the WNBA, like you'll hear a woman comment, even a man, you'll hear like, I bet you they probably believe this. I would ask them, well, why do you think women in the WNBA get paid less than NBA players? Well, because they're women. No, they don't. The reason why they get paid less is because people are less likely to watch the WNBA because women are not as athletically gifted as men, which is why there's a separation when it comes to the genders, when it comes to it, because if it was against the men and the women, they would lose 100-0 in the first quarter. But secondly, not to mention also, because it's not as, people don't really want to watch it because you don't want to watch two women run down a court all day and lay the ball up. People want to watch dunk. They want to watch more aggression. That's what they want to watch. And it's just not as entertaining. Not to mention, can you name 3 WNBA basketball teams right now? Exactly. The majority of the people who watch WNBA basketball are actually men. Let's talk about it. The majority of the people who watch WNBA basketball is men. So if women really wanted women and you men really wanted women to get paid as much, then you would actually support these different institutions like the WNBA. They don't even make money. They are actually negative profit. The only reason why the WNBA is still in business is because the NBA subsidizes their income. They have to pay for them to even be a consistent league. They don't even make money because no one wants to watch it. That's why it's not on national TV, because the TV deals, usually the games, they're not even making enough money for the TV deals because the commercials don't even want to be on the TV. Because it's like, why am I going to pay to be on a WNBA basketball game when I'm not going to get that much attention anyway? So do your research before you talk. It's that simple. Let's keep going.
I don't want to lose my track. The moral basis of people not knowing themselves and having babies, a lot of men don't got shit to contribute. If you can't even commit marriage to a woman, what makes you think that she wants to commit to having a baby? That 9 to 10 months, that can fuck up that whole baby's life.
I actually agree with that. Now this nigga that made some sense. I actually do agree with that. But then you would have to speak on the woman who controls access to sex. Why are you sleeping with the man in the first place? But I actually do agree with him. You shouldn't be having children unless you have a foundation of longevity, which will be marriage. I agree with that.
Yeah, not being supported.
Yeah, you can't.
In the same way that she was talking about, asking for that promotion and things like that, because that also, when we're when we're seen as having some more control or power over in a work environment,
Why is this woman here? Why is this woman here? Like, what do you like? Why are you here?
People aren't gonna abuse us as much. People aren't gonna, supposedly, right? Where are we advocating? You know what I'm saying? In the same way of like not being prepared for fatherhood. Where are we advocating for those black women in the job, in the workplace, and making sure that they are seen in the way that they should be and empowered in the way that they should, in the same way that in fatherhood and outside of fatherhood, when you know that your homie is gonna have thinking about having kids, when you know that your brother or whoever is thinking about having kids, how are you empowering the mother that or who could be the mother, and how are you holding your brother or your homie accountable, and what does that even mean?
The same conversation I can say like, hey, you need to ask for it 150, 200, 175, be the same conversation like, like, what's he doing? Right. You know, like, and it's like, it might be a conversation. I think also with certain conversations, it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, or whatever, you're still a man. Whenever a woman wants to open up and talk to you about certain things, that's when you want to talk about it. Like, you can't be overbearing, because with patriarchy, with masculinity, it's kind of like you trying to talk about something you want to talk about and shouldn't even want to talk about that. That's you exerting your masculinity over somebody. So, like, whenever my friends talk about their dating, majority of my friends are introverts. They're real kind of like to themselves. They don't like to talk about their business.
Wait. What did he just say?
Wants to open up and talk to you about. It doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, or whatever. You're still a man. Whenever a woman wants to open up and talk to you about certain things, that's when you want to talk about it. Like, you can't be overbearing, because with patriarchy, with masculinity, it's kind of like you trying to talk about something you want to talk about and shouldn't even want to talk about that. That's you exerting your masculinity over somebody. So
What? So wait. So when a woman wants to talk about it, I should talk about it. But when I want to talk about it and she doesn't want to talk about it and I take issue with it, that's me exerting my masculinity and patriarchal norms? Did I hear him right? Chat, tell me if I heard him right. I might be. That's why I had to bring it back, because I don't know if I heard him right. So basically he's saying a woman should be able to talk about it and you should be open to it. But if you want to talk about it, then, and she doesn't want to talk about it and you take issue with it, that's you exerting patriarchy? Let me listen to this one more time, because I might be tripping. It might be me. I'm okay with being wrong if I heard him incorrectly.
Like, you know, like, what's he doing? Right. You know, like, and it's like, it might be a conversation. I think also with certain conversations, it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, or whatever, you're still a man. Whenever a woman wants to open up and talk to you about certain things, that's when you want to talk about it.
Okay, whenever a woman wants to open up and talk to you about certain things, that's when you want to talk about it.
Like, you can't be overbearing, because with patriarchy, with masculinity,
you can't be overbearing.
It's kind of like you trying to talk about something you want to talk about and shouldn't even want to talk about that. That's you exerting your masculinity over somebody.
I don't understand what he's saying.
So, like, whenever my friends talk about their dating, majority of my friends are introverts. They're real kind of like to themselves. They don't like to talk about their business. When they do open up, that's when I ask, like, hey, like, you know, you have X, Y, and Z. Is he providing you what you need, or is he just a placeholder?
Exactly. So are women strong or fragile? Exactly. Excuse me. What happened to the like what happened to the women empowerment stuff? What happened to they're the power and they're the force? What happened to all that?
Until that right man comes. So sometimes it will be different. It just depends.
Wait, what?
X, Y, and Z. Is he providing you what you need, or is he just a placeholder until that right man comes? So sometimes it will be different. It just depends. Yeah. Because
I don't know what he's talking about.
You got to be the person to say it.
Yeah, I would say too.
You got to go ahead. No, I want to see what you're gonna say.
No, I'll go ahead.
And placeholder might not be the right thing. It might not be the right thing to say, but
you know, I was just talking about. I'm 70 years old, so I come from a whole nother era than any of you Negroes is talking about. And what I've learned, and I'm not saying I'm right. I think everybody is right, because there's so many levels to this. But most of this was laid on our parents' parents.
Yeah.
My father was born in 1915, and his parents were slaves. Well, his grandparents were slaves. So what I've learned is, it's not your mother's fault, it's not your father's fault, it's not your fault. We were born into 450 years of post-slavery PTSD. I am 69, be 70 in March. I've just learned how to love.
Exactly. Everybody can't be right. And I do agree that the generational curses is basically what he's saying. I do agree with that when it comes to certain things, sure. Let's keep going to see what he got to say, though. That don't mean don't take accountability, though, but
our parents didn't know how to love. Their parents didn't know how to love. And if I could...
Love is subjective, so there's no way that you can say our parents didn't know how to love and their parents didn't know how to love, because we just, at least I did, I just quantified that love is subjective, even in the definition. And somebody said it's an intense feeling of deep affection. Intense, subjective, deep affection, intense, subjective, deep, subjective, feeling, all of that subjective. So love in and of itself is subjective. So you can't say what you learn. That's like saying I just learned 1 + 1 = 2. 1 + 1 is not subjective. That's objective. Now you could say I just felt like 1 + 1 = 2 and that feels really good. That's subjective, meaning there's no actual definition to it. It's based on how you perceive it.
Say anybody maybe had an edge, it was the women. And if I could say anybody maybe had an edge, it was the women. That's why I celebrate black women. I live with a psychiatrist, forensics detective, gangster, loving Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer, who.
Oh, this nigga bringing up astrology. This nigga, man, Clifton Powell. I didn't think that, man. I had a different level of. I was rocking. I rocked with Pinky, man. I can't even watch Friday no more, bro, because I'm gonna just see this nigga. I'm just like, man. He probably gonna be in the new Friday too. Y'all know they working on the last Friday. It got approved. Man, I can't even watch Friday the same no more, man. He one of my favorite characters. Hey, nigga, slow this motherfucker down. You almost spilled my yak on this $200 suit, nigga.
Who's just been loving Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer, who's just been patient with me to teach me how to love. But in closing on this, because I don't want to get too deep, I called my buddy, man. I said, I'm really bad. So I never been monogamous. So I don't.
What age did you become monogamous?
Today. No, but let me just say what it is.
Good to know.
And we don't talk about this. We don't talk about dopamine being in a pleasant center of the brain like we talked about oxytocin is the hormone. It's called the cuddle hormone. So a lot of times we're just talking in generalities. And that's why I think what you said about counseling, because a counselor is going to get inside of this from a real, not even white people perspective, just from a scientific perspective, unless science is not wrong and the brain is not the man who is. So when I hurt my girl, which I've done over and over, and I commend her for even being with me, and I said it in my podcast, and I'm gonna say this and stop. I called one of my partners who was brilliant. He said, when you hurt somebody, where you leave them is where they stay. So I think our parents, our grandparents, our uncles, the people that raised us, those men who treated the women outside the house nice, but then put the thumb on the grandmama and put the thumb on the girlfriend or whoever. They are all. It all comes from out of all of that, and I think that's what makes me excited that we're going to bring the women and the uncles and we need to bring them all in here. But go ahead, what you going to say?
The one thing that I just want to talk about in Luke, make sure I say the name right. Crop this part out. Okay. What Luke brought up was like accountability. Like, yes, we can talk about, what our families did to us, all this, all that. But eventually, and I know why people try and say this, and I really don't like that, but eventually comes a point where you have to decide, how do I want to live my life? I haven't talked to my daddy in 6 years. I don't give a fuck about what my family has gone through. I know where I will go. So it's like,
I do agree with that. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I agree with that to an extent. I think what he's speaking on, I could be misreading it, but I think he's speaking on basically accountability and not blaming your parents for everything. Like, I don't blame my parents for nothing. I think there's things they could have did better, but I don't blame them for nothing. Anything I got going on is on me. I don't blame my parents. I don't blame nobody but myself for whatever I got going on. So accountability wise, I can agree with him on that. People need to start taking accountability. All that, it's my parents' fault in this generation. Oh, yeah, sure. But this generation, specifically mine and the ones after, man, you ain't got no more excuses, man. Again, you have everything that you need to know at your fingertips when you figure out time to put in everything else. All the stuff that I know and I speak on is because I look it up and do research on it. And I watch documentaries and I read articles and I read books and I listen to scholars and people who are actually, intelligent who actually are educated on the topic speak about it. So I know. So I can agree with him on that. Accountability needs to be had, men or women. Don't matter what we talking about. Take accountability for your actions. Quit blaming the whole world. Because you can only control what you can control.
No, you can only say that for so long. Black women are tired, and kind of like putting onto them like, hey, you didn't do this entirely, because everybody in here, several people have talked about going to counseling. Have that upon yourself. Stop waiting for a woman to tell you what you need to do. Take that upon yourself.
Let me address
I agree with that.
that real quickly. For me, I didn't know.
I don't think it matters about being black or being black or being white or being a man or a woman, but I do agree with that.
To do. Take that upon yourself.
Let me address that real quickly. For me, I didn't know that I didn't know how to love.
Can I say one more thing? No, I have to say this, because another thing that happens is, too, you live your life for so long, and I'm not meaning no disrespect by this.
It's all right, just say it, bro.
But when you hit your 60s and your 70s, I want to be right.
Okay, but let me.
I want to live my life right. I want someone to take care of me and protect me, and that's what a lot of women have issues with.
I'm living it right the now.
As I said,
listen to
I
what I'm
said 60s and 70s.
Let me say this.
Don't
bro.
overtalk
I'm
me.
gonna overtalk you
I'm
because you're
good,
talking out
but
of
you're
line,
not
nigga.
gonna disrespect
You don't know
me.
what the you
Oh,
talking
I
about.
am.
I just
I
learned how to
do.
love at 60,
I do.
bro. You don't know what the you talking about.
Oh, I do.
Because you can't
I
fix
do.
no shit.
I
You don't
do.
know it, nigga.
I do.
I'm good. You don't know what the fuck out of here. I'm living. You can't tell me what the fuck I'm living, nigga. I'm living it right now. You cannot fix no shit that you don't even know is
I
happening.
think there's a misunderstanding.
No, but you.
No,
But
there's
he's generalized. You can't.
You a tranny? Shut up.
No, listen, bro. Let me stop. This is what it is. Let's get to the truth of this shit. You can't fix no shit unless you meet somebody who is on another level to help you elevate to understand. I'm just.
I disagree completely. I'm sorry. I disagree with Clifton. I disagree. I completely disagree. Whether that be experiences, whether that be, I mean, I'm not saying that you can't learn from people and be taught, but there's different ways that you can get out of certain behaviors and changes. So I completely disagree. It don't even make sense what he's saying. It goes to show, like, hey, the clock is right twice a day. The gay nigga right.
I'm not indicting anybody.
Now, he's not right in all that. The black woman, because it's like, black women are tired. Anybody can be tired. Black men can be tired too. Miss me with that. But he's right as far as accountability and like changing behavior. Like, he's right on that.
I'm telling you what the shit is. You can't fix
Pinky out. Pinky done came out.
some shit that you don't know about, bro.
Yeah.
You can't. And then you get there at 69 or 70 and say, I thought I was being loved all this time. That's what our parents have gone through, and that's why we all so up right now.
You asked,
Yeah, maybe for you, but not for everybody else. And I think that's the point that the gay nigga was trying to make.
how do we love black women?
Yeah.
That's right here. Trust black women and listen to black women because they know more than we do what it is that they need.
I don't think that's true either.
No, they don't. Yeah, okay, yeah, they don't. They actually don't. I don't think that's true either. So I can agree with Clifton on this part.
As men,
There's a lot of black women who don't know how to love.
I'm not talking about what they know how to love. I'm saying what they need as far as the
I
reproductive.
get that.
A lot of black women don't know what they need. A lot of black men don't know what they need. I don't think, I mean, if the conversation is specifically for black men, there's a lot of black women that absolutely don't know what they need. They run a dating show every single day. And actually, I'm gonna do the dating show today after we done with this, because it's gonna prove my point that I make every single day, that like women in general have literally no idea what they're talking about, which is why they need to be led. Not all women, but you would think the hundreds and hundreds of videos that I have on this YouTube channel of these conversations that I have with women, if you ever wanted to know, me too, but if you ever wanted to know if who's right in a sense, somebody that's literally a woman that want to be a man, you're a woman, but a man that's 70 that's dated women his entire life, he'll know. I'm only 28 and I know this. We'll do the dating show in a minute.
That's what we're talking about right now. Also, if we're going to use our privilege and power as men in society.
You're not a man, bruh. I can't believe Clifton's sitting here letting this nigga talk, man. Letting this woman talk. Like,
how do we show up and be accountable? Like you said, the way to be accountable is to dismantle patriarchy. Because patriarchy makes it so that men have the power and women do not.
But you can't get there unless you listen to him. We got to go, and you may not agree. We got to go to therapy. I should be in therapy right now. My girl should be in therapy. We all come from generations and generations, and you can't sit here and tell me when I'm going through at 70, I just realized, but listen to what I'm saying. We good, bro. It's not gonna get out of control. This is real shit. I know. Bro, this is real shit. I'm telling you, you can't love a queen. Some of these girls out here in Queens because their daddies wasn't there. If your daddy ain't there from 12 to 25, you going down a rabbit hole. Promiscuity, drugs, gotta read more.
somebody finally speaking the truth. Somebody finally speaking the truth.
Gotta stop getting so offensive and read more, because I read. I know what the I'm talking about because I'm living it. Until you meet a real motherfucking queen who had to figure out her trauma, you can't even learn how to love a black woman.
So here's one thing.
That's what we gotta start.
Here's one thing.
Okay, I don't know what he's talking about at that last point. I don't know what he's talking about.
With
how was a woman pretending to be a man going to dismantle the bitch?
Because I think I agree that you can't wait until you know.
You gotta hold yourself accountable.
So
if you figure it out.
Hold on. Because here's
If you figure it out, bro.
But you gotta let other people talk. Hold on.
No, it's all good. That's why I can't do this,
I got
bro.
you. I got you.
I'm on.
You can't, but you can't.
It's pinky knuckle. The arguments are important. This is how black men talk to each other. So I want to make sure. This is what I want to make sure we're framing properly, because at a lot of the time we think, because you're talking about your privilege and your power and how you use it. A lot of time we've been taught our power is how we control a situation, and we try to control that situation by dominating it, by shutting other people down, by overpowering them. And I think that is something that, I mean, monogamy, just to be real, is not the end all be all. That's not the best. It's the only way. It's not the only way to live, and it's not just men or women. It's literally, there are other ways to be. And so some people value monogamy more. That doesn't mean that you have sin and you dead and you evil if you haven't been. But the problem is, most of the time, the way that we're living is by telling somebody that we are monogamous when we're not.
I agree with that. I talk about this a lot, and I think it's very weak when men do this. If you a real player, you ain't got to cheat on your lady. Hey, look, baby. You gonna be my man, girl. I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna treat you right. I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna do everything I need to do for you. But I'm gonna talk to these hoes. I'm gonna deal with these hoes. You gonna stay? All right, cool. Let's do it. I ain't got a lot of you. A real nigga ain't got a lot of a woman to I ain't gotta sneak around to get some pussy. Who are you to be? You a grown man. Why do I need to sneak for you? I'm gonna let you know what's going on up front. Hey, look, I'm gonna rock with you, but I'm the type of man I am, and I got hoes, and I'm gonna go ahead and dip and dabble with these hoes. I'm not saying you should do this, by the way. But what I am saying is, this is something that's how a real man operate. I ain't gotta sneak and lie to kick it. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you and let you know, hey, look, baby, I got hoes. I'm gonna make sure that you my main woman. I ain't gonna lie to you when I'm talking to a woman. I'm gonna go ahead and deal with these other women on the side, but I ain't gonna bring you no STD. I ain't gonna bring you no baby, and I ain't gonna bring you no drama from none of these hoes. They gonna be in check. That's how a real nigga handle it. I ain't gotta sneak and delete stuff and hide and lie. That's hoe shit. That's hoe nigga shit. You keep it 100 with your lady. If you're a real nigga, you can do that. If you're a real player, you can do it like that. And do you believe in monogamy? I believe, for me specifically, if I'm in a relationship with a woman, and I'm gonna tell you this, I'm a single man, so I'm gonna deal with who I deal with. But if I'm in a relationship with a woman, I'm gonna let her know exactly what's going on. But if we have a contract to say that we're gonna be monogamous to each other, then that's our contract. So if you're asking me the question, yes. When I see talks like this, I'm grateful that I have my biological father and my stepfather in my life. I witnessed strong, disciplined FBA men lead and train me in sports. This led to athletic scholarship. These dudes are weak. Facts, man. And Kaden, I appreciate you with the $20 dono, fam. I appreciate that. Good or bad, a man tell the truth. I will die before I lie to a woman. I ain't got to tell a woman that I'm talking to other women. Yes, I'm talking to other hoes. You ain't got no other nigga like me, so you might as well stay around, because the next nigga that's on the same level as me, you gonna think he doing anything. You gonna think he a good man. No, he lying. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. It's that simple. A real nigga ain't got a lot of no woman. You gonna keep it a band with her. A lot of women will probably go for it too, unfortunately. Why would that be unfortunate? No, it would be fortunate. Why would it be unfortunate? It ain't unfortunate. They should be going for it. Shoot. All of these women that's baby mamas, I mean, look at what they doing anyway. They ain't doing nothing but being a baby mama. So they accept it anyway. They just accept it from a Bluetooth. The nigga just not in the home. You better off staying with the nigga. Shoot. Y'all accept it anyway. Y'all baby mamas. I'm not saying you specifically. I'm speaking in general. A lot of the baby mamas, you accepted it anyway. If you lying to a girl, a sneak, you just a snake. Yeah, I ain't got a lot of no woman to do what I'm gonna do. I'm a man. Who is you to lie? Who are you for me to lie to? You ain't nobody for me to lie to. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, let you know what's going on.
Hold on. That's lying.
But let's hold on, bro.
So that's dishonesty.
We can't talk about monogamy. No, we gotta talk. No, we gotta talk about
you. I'm not arguing with you. I'm agreeing with you. Hold on.
Men are not. First of all, this is not our culture. In Africa, it's polygamy.
No.
It's not monogamous biology.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
Of what,
Like, for example,
us talking.
To be what it meant to be a man.
Damn, where was I at, man?
They sister.
We gotta fix ourselves. They gotta go fix themselves.
Hold on, I gotta find out where I was at.
A lot of the books that we're given in school, opposite out each other's perspectives. I'm not afraid of take it to a.
I think we gotta listen to Luke. Listen, I think.
Damn, man, I lost where I was at, man. Hold on, y'all. Damn.
I think there are other perspectives. But
let's
hold on, bro. So that's dishonesty.
We can't talk about monogamy. No, we gotta talk. No, we gotta talk about
you. I'm not arguing with you.
And Africa is polygamy.
Okay, you can miss me with this Africa talk because in Africa there's patriarchy. And y'all the same ones. They always want to bring up Africa. Well, Africa, it was like this. Well, Africa, they got a patriarchy, and they still got it to this day. In Africa, some of them African countries, homosexuality is not legal. You're gonna die or go to jail if you're a homosexual. So you can miss it with this Africa talk. And also, your ass ain't never been to Africa. You ain't African. You an American, nigga. So missing with this Africa talk. Well, in Africa, there's Africa that. And Africa, they still, in some of those places, especially in those tribal places that are like mostly uncontacted, they still operate in cannibalism. So you can miss me with all that, my nigga. They use cow dung and turn it into a bed or a pillow. So stop with the Africa talk. If you want to be Africa, then take your ass back to Africa. But you ain't never been to Africa. Your family ain't even African. Nigga, shut up.
Hold on. Men are not, first of all, this is not our culture. And Africa is polygamy.
No.
It's not monogamous biologically, is it?
Some people do believe that monogamy is the most healthy thing.
97% of married men cheat, bro.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's
85% of married women cheat. Nobody is being monogamous.
We've also been taught to lie.
Stats on cheating is not accurate because you would have to take into account for people who cheated and didn't get caught, and then you would have to take into account people who cheated and stayed. There's no possible way that you can get a stat on cheating and for it to be accurate. And then you would also have to consider what is cheating. Because cheating isn't just sex. Cheating could be texting somebody. Cheating could be flirting with somebody. Cheating could be doing, a cat call or whatever. So there's literally impossible for you to quantify what cheating actually is and who cheats more or who got caught. Like, there's no way to quantify that. It's impossible.
And we've also been
I'm just saying with
domination and control. So I think there are other perspectives here that are valuable in holding that stuff accountable because we were talking about how to hold each other accountable in this.
Can
right?
I add something to that?
That's a good point too. All men weren't allowed to have multiple wives unless they had to take care of them, Pinky. Yeah.
In talking about trusting black women and loving black women, how do we hold each other accountable in that? How do we make promises?
It's funny because they sitting here talking about loving black women, and Conscious Lee don't even go with a black woman. He go with a Latina Mexican white woman. So I find that funny.
That we can keep. How do we say that, make sure that we're surrounding each other with people who are going to check us?
And a gay nigga there. Like, what are we doing? What are we talking about?
When we're wrong.
This conversation is
right.
stupid.
And how do we know that who knows what's right and what's wrong in that, right?
I think it's
even what I read, a lot of the time what we read is wrong. Yeah. A lot of the time the books that they give us to educate ourselves are wrong. So I do want to hear more perspectives on literally how to hold ourselves accountable in that. How do we're talking about trusting black women. How do we trust black women, right? You know what I'm saying? Right. And what does that trust accountable to? Sure. What books, because a lot of the books that we're given in school are lies that tell us the opposite of how to trust black women. That tell us the opposite of how to hold each other accountable and make sure that we understand what is right and wrong and what each other's perspectives are. So I love the energy of, I'm not afraid of the argument. I'm not afraid of the fight. But it does have to be, but I do want to make sure that we take it to a place where we come out here more powerful than we did when we came.
I think we gotta listen to Luke. Listen, I think we gotta listen to Luke. He's talking about therapy. This is what he's saying.
We gonna get your t-shirt to say listen to Luke.
In order for us to trust black women, we gotta fix ourselves. They gotta go fix themselves, and it starts with black people don't like to go to counseling. Okay, they need to go to therapy. That's it.
Jay brought that up. And
I've never seen a table with so many niggas that's just incorrect and wrong. It don't make no sense. This nigga is crazy.
I agree that we must talk, but I do also understand the value in us talking, our perspective.
We got that part, but how do we find solutions?
Well, the only thing is we're not gonna get to a solution because there is still something on the table. There's still something on the table, and we gotta.
What's on the table?
The problem is this. Your point of view.
No, not my point of view. What's on the table to me is how do we as black men?
You said listen to Luke.
No, but I'm just interjecting, bro. Y'all said interject.
Well, interject.
Listen, I'm saying, how do we help black women? I'm telling you,
Well, first we gotta help ourselves.
We gotta help
Right.
ourselves.
But I'm
Can't go to
saying,
no black
what I'm
woman
saying is,
if we can't figure out
Right.
If
And
we
I'm
can't
saying
figure out what
you-
love
what
really
you
means,
said
what
earlier.
love looks like to us,
Right.
what love has
Right.
been to us,
Right.
what have we
And
been
I'm
taught about
saying we come
love,
from generations of no love.
right?
But
But
then,
then,
so we
but
gotta
does
go back to-
patriarchy come with accountability?
No, I
what
think
is
we
the
gotta go back
definition
to
of
The
patriarchy?
definition of patriarchy is when we have systems of domination for men. Right now, I think we're not doing a good job of naming the system that literally incentivizes us to be on some or it incentivizes us to always want to
Which
be
celebrates
dominating
the man,
power.
patriarchy celebrates the man.
Yes.
But I think in our conversation right now as black people, a lot of times when you hear the word
That shit ain't
patriarchy,
working, whatever.
you think about the word patriarchy, you think about how we're taught in Christianity to be patriarchs. So a lot of us have a hard time thinking about leadership and thinking about how that leadership comes out in ways, i.e., I want to be a patriarch like Father Abraham, therefore patriarchy is good. Patriarchy is not good.
Ain't no nigga ever said that. What is this nigga talking about? Ain't no nigga ever said that. What is this like? My nigga, what is you talking about?
The system of domination for women is not good. But a lot of us buy into that.
So I got
lot
a
of
question
us,
I want to ask you.
What's your
How
question?
do we unlearn that? I think we unlearn that by listening to what he's saying.
About what
Because
specifically?
it's therapy. So we can go understand all of
But listen, I want to.
Again, these niggas is idiots. Clifton Powell, no idea what he talking about. But even it's just hilarious that I think my guy, I forgot his name, Marcus. He summed it up. It's funny. It's like the system of patriarchy tells a woman that she can be a man and vice versa. There's literally a woman sitting at a table that has on clothes and grew a fake beard to be a man, and you follow it and enforce it. It's wild. The system of patriarchy is the same thing that all of them agree with is defending your woman. I'm sure that's something that they would agree with. That's patriarchy. Like there's forced doctrine and there's nothing that you can do to get out of that because we have a biological mechanism. But I don't know, these people crazy. It's a gnat in here. It flew on my head or by my head.
To be clear, I want to be clear. Right now, we're talking about a system of power.
Right.
If you think interpersonally going to therapy is going to deconstruct the system of power, no.
I don't say. I'm not saying that.
But this is what we get at. Right now, we're talking about trusted black women.
Colonial.
There's a system I'm saying that goes against it.
Aspect to it.
Right. But
yes.
I'm not. Don't go to no white therapy.
Well, no, but hold on. If we talking about therapy,
Let's talk about therapy.
this is therapy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. This is therapeutic.
Right.
Us looking like us.
Yes. Right.
Different ages, different experiences. Us. It's gonna be ugly. It's not gonna be cute. We ain't professional therapists and none, but we are listening.
Okay, hold on.
And I think that's the point where we
And we
got
have to stay there.
Right here is
We
just
gotta
listen.
Stay there.
Listen and find and wait for it. Because sometimes it's just the listening. I think that's the whole part of this whole thing. Because we don't listen because we live in this space of feeling like we know everything. And we are not the smartest people in the room.
I think it goes a step further than that.
Go for
I
it.
think we're too ashamed to admit when we're wrong. And so when we go, so like when Trust, I'm gonna say something. Tressie, like, oh Lord, Tressie Cottom, credible writer, sociologist. She says we are smarter when we listen to black women, not because all black women are right, but because all black women deserve to be heard. Right?
All black women deserve to be heard. So does that include black women who are child molesters? Does that include black women who are serial killers? Does that include black women who rip and run the streets and set men up to die? That doesn't happen in mass. But you said all, so I'm using your own logic. Since you said all means everybody. That means that there's no one without. So all people get to be able to eat the food that I made. So if there's 10 people in the house, that includes all 10 people. So when you say all, that includes all. So does that include black women who are Republicans who don't agree with you? Does that include black women who don't support abortion? Does that include black women who do want to uphold the patriarchy? I'm almost certain that it doesn't. So you would destroy your own talking point. You niggas are dog food. I would destroy all of these niggas on this panel with pure just common sense and logic.
And when we
Or does that just include the black women who just believe you or who agree with you? That's the truth. It's just black women who agree with me. It's never all. Don't let them people get you on that.
when we're so caught up in the process of listening is love. That's how we love black women, by listening to them, right? Again, everything they said isn't necessarily right, but they do deserve to be heard.
So let me address that.
Hold on, let me finish. Let me back it up. In doing so, we can help dismantle patriarchy because we're leading with, hold on, let me finish, brother. We're leading with listening. And, if we lead with listening, that means we're not listening so that we can respond.
Man, black women must be in cages under this building that they in chains, like eating food with their mouth. Like they can't even touch it. Because the way they talking about black women to be the most educated and the most powerful people in the world, but they just got all this struggle and torment that men are putting on them at the same time, it don't make that much sense to me. Black women must be like being drugged by the back of a car, like on average. Black women must be like just can't do nothing at all. Like, I don't know, somebody lying. The most educated group of people is what they claim. The most powerful group of people, the smartest group of people, the best everything, who can lead the best, and the black men should sit down and shut up, but we should also protect them and help them and do all this other stuff. It's like, I don't know, something ain't making sense to me. Somebody said, dude, hairline is questionable. No, it is. Something ain't making sense to me. I don't know. Somebody lying.
Listening to understand, which means you might have to ask another question. If you speak, it is to ask another question
and not censor yourself,
so you can get more information from the source.
Okay. And so let's start out really quick with that patriarchy, because we keep saying patriarchy, and you were saying without centering yourself, and I think that that's really important, because I wouldn't know. I'll just be real. If me being young nigga in the street, I wouldn't be like. I wouldn't say young.
Shout out to Nafisa Jackson. These men need to pay for some CEO coaching. I don't think they will be. I'll take their money though.
When I'm not saying now. I understand what it is now, but I'm saying when I wouldn't hear somebody talk about dismantling patriarchy and be even attracted to the conversation or even know what that means, right? And so what I would like you to go a little bit deeper into what does that even mean? Because for me, the way I'm thinking about it is the way that we've been taught wrong about our power. Yes. That we are supposed to, that we have some sort of privilege in certain, in some.
Again, he keeps saying we were taught wrong. I wasn't taught wrong. You might have been taught wrong, but you projecting your negative mentality on everybody else or other black men.
In some situations that we have a little bit more power than somebody else, and that we abuse that power. We use that power to try.
You abuse the power. People abuse the power. I've never abused my power on any woman in my life. What are you talking about? I've never forced a woman to do anything. I've never put my hands on a woman. I've never done anything to a woman to make her feel like she has no control. I've never done that. And I know there's plenty of other men who've never done that either. I'm sure there are men who have done that, but you should speak on those men. Don't say black men or say we. Say some of the men who do say a thing. Don't say we or speak on black men as a collective. Don't do that. Because what you're doing is you're trying to, you're under this presumption that it makes the black community look bad, as if like that's the norm. Yeah. All the sons beat your daughters and beat your women and rape all the women that you're around. Like they talk like that's what's being happening in these households. That's how they talk. If you're a little black girl, you're ugly and stupid and all you are is your looks. Nobody's doing that. That don't happen. Because all the black men I'm always around, they always speak about provision and protection from a place of love and a place of like, you need to do things the right way and do things morally and just, whether they akin to you or not. So it sounds like you didn't have what you needed and you trying to throw that on everybody else because they must have had it too. No, nigga, we ain't all the same.
The situation in our favor when we should be listening to other people, when we should be honoring their existence and centering their freedom, their liberation. You know what I'm saying? So what their experience. So what does that mean to y'all? What does that even mean to dismantle patriarchy? What is that? Why is it harmful? And I'm not putting that necessarily on you, but whoever wants to.
Can I go?
What does that mean? Yeah.
So when someone comes to you and they already know what you possess as a person, like for example, like a lot of doctors. Once I feel like a lot of black men get higher education, a lot of people want to get treated like a bitch. That's the truth. Like more accolades, get treated like a bitch. Like you want, take care of me. Yes, take care of me. Like, or like, like I'm the prize. I'm the prize.
You talking about when you become rich and famous.
You don't even got to be rich and famous. It could be you going like for 12 years in academia.
That language is
I'm trying to understand you.
What?
Like treated like a bitch. Like a bitch.
That's how they want to be treated. Some of them
they want to be like a prima donna.
But think about the
that's
way
relative to
that you're
patriarchy.
saying that, and what we're talking about.
What the f is this nigga talking about? This is a complete projection show. I feel like this happens. Based on what? What are you talking about? What is this nigga talking about?
Now
That's
around
good.
centering like black women and their experiences.
I really don't want to hear this tranny talk. I'm gonna be honest. I don't really care about this half whatever opinion.
And even the saying treated like
I'm not making that connection. Bitch to me is subservient. Men can be bitches, women can, like I shouldn't say that.
But you're a man.
Yeah, but
so you being called a bitch is not the same as a woman being called a bitch, especially a black woman being called a bitch.
I feel like the black women that listen to this, they're gonna know what I'm talking about. They're gonna know what I'm talking about.
As long as we put, because I think it's important. I hear what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I get it. What I think that it's important that we talk about all of it.
So this is what I'm saying. So like we're speaking in this way. This is how the dismantling happens. Because the language and how we say things is very important.
Sure.
And that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So like I'm not saying like don't say it, because I'm like I say bitch all the time. Like that's not what I'm saying at all. But it's essentially about when we're talking about the systems of power, and when we talk about dismantling patriarchy, and we talk about masculinity and what that means and what that looks like to us. And I could say even to y'all as someone as cis men, because my perspective of
I wish I would sit there and let a nigga call me cis man. Nigga, I'm a man. You talking about, nigga?
it's going to be completely different from how you all experienced it, having come from a different place. So like when growing up I have two brothers, and the way my father taught my two brothers what it would be to be what it meant to be a man, and how to show up, and what masculinity meant, it was always domination, it's power, it's strength. And that,
again, notice how every time they go into their history about how they grew up, it was always some terrible thing that a man did to them, and it was always like the women did nothing wrong. It was always the man's fault, and even though that wasn't the case. But let's just say it was the case for the conversation. Again, this is projection and trauma that's being shot all around this table. These dudes have had terrible experiences with men, and they project that out in this conversation and everything else that they do. That's all this conversation is.
It was never really softness, like protection, not softness. So I wanted to combat the idea that being a good man, or a man is being like or men are natural protectors or natural providers. I don't think that's the case at all. Men are not. You can't be a natural protector and provider when you are the one that's causing harm. Right.
Yeah.
So by that logic, women don't cause harm. Like, I think that goes without saying. Because you're the natural protector and provider, you have to protect what you're around, because other people, because of the protection. Because when you say harm, I'm assuming you're talking about physical. Men have a force doctrine. We have a monopoly on force. The force doctrine is that we have the monopoly on force. So with that being the case, that wouldn't make any sense of what you're saying. We are stronger than women, so we have to protect women from other men. But women can also do things to men as well. There are women that are stronger than men. So what is the difference then? If my woman stabbed me in the neck, then what? And I die, then what? I'm not saying those things happen in mass. Men putting their hands on women or abusing women does not happen in mass, or the other way around. The point that I'm making is these things can happen regardless if you're a man or the woman. But when you say the men are the ones causing harm, then why the fuck you want to be a man? Like, I don't understand this logic at all. Like, the logic don't make sense. Women cause harm too. I'm not picking a side to say men don't. I'm not saying men don't do anything. What I'm saying, this conversation is very one-sided and biased based off trauma and hurt. That's all this conversation is, man. They did a terrible job of forming this panel. Although they're disagreeing for the most part, there's no real opposing views. All they doing is disagreeing on the way to get to the same outcome. But they're not actually disagreeing on like the points that's being made. They're not countering each other on any points. They all have the same foundation of agreements. But they did the panel like this purposely. They would never have somebody like me up on this panel, because I would make all of them look like idiots.
So what do you protect? You're protecting. So you say you're protecting women.
You said that so eloquently.
You're saying
so simple too. He said it the way I was trying to say it.
No, you're protecting yourself.
Then he be doing that fucking hands like this. Like, I'm gonna you up.
So that is largely how we got it wrong.
And then we talk about masculinity. So when we're teaching young men and boys,
I think we on to something here.
Yeah.
I think we on to something.
What masculinity is It's always an antithesis to femininity and
Exactly
womanhood.
right.
So then it's just like, oh, to be a man and to be strong and to show up means you don't be like a woman. So being a woman is less than. It's always going to be down.
So let's go back.
No, that's not saying a woman is less than. You think a woman is less than. I think women are and men are just different. So it's not to say that, again, more projection is happening. Men and women, it's not that it's a less than. There's a difference. I think we are equally as important, but there's just a difference of the things that we bring to a situation, specifically a relationship or a family. I can't do things that women can do. That doesn't make me less than. That means that I'm just different. Women can't do things that I can do. That doesn't make me less than. That means that I'm different. So you are taking that difference and saying that it's less than. A man should not act like a woman. It doesn't make it to say that the woman is less than. That's to say when a man operates like a woman, negativity comes. And vice versa. Let's keep going.
We were talking about the table. Listen.
Right.
What I was trying to say to you is this.
I think
Out of everybody in this fucking room, I'm 70 years old. My mother committed suicide when I was 4. My father was a dysfunctional alcoholic. I'm
More trauma, by the way.
just learning. Like you said, I think when you learn, you gotta do better.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to do better. So we talking about trusting black women, because that's why the fuck I'm here.
Right.
And I don't like doing this kind of shit.
Right.
Because my brain is on another level because I live with the boss. I live with a queen who's a boss that if you saw me, and I'm just saying this, and that's why I got emotional, because I'm living it right now. Every 18 seconds a woman gets beaten in this country by a man. When a woman is killed, it's by the domestic partner. So it's a
That's actually not true. Every 18 seconds, a woman is not beat by a man. Every 18 seconds, it's reported that might be the case. And that's not even to say that they're even, what you're saying is even true. More than likely, you're talking about people you're talking about reports. And actually, if you actually want to get down to it, if you actually break that down, it's actually a very, very small percentage, if that's even the case, because you would have to take into account even if it goes to trial, that they even get convicted, that the woman lie, right? But most likely what you're talking about is just a woman saying something happened to her. The highest rate of domestic violence is women on women interpersonal relationships. Lesbian relationships have the highest rates of domestic violence. You'll never see any of them up there talk about that though.
a lot of things that y'all are talking about that's true, that in order for us as Black and Latino men, or you Latin?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm half Latin.
Head ass.
I'm just saying.
No, but I'm just saying, what I'm saying, nobody at this table is wrong. In order to love Black women, we gotta figure out where we are as men and how to get away from what you say, that patriarchal kind of bullshit that we've been taught, like your dad, be nice to everybody else, but got his thumb on your mother's head. That's not love.
So what happens when you come to a woman that you don't see as a queen?
Okay,
Right, hold on, real fast. Right now, we just got done doing the No Kings rally, right?
Right.
Talking about kings, talking about Donald Trump. You see what I'm saying? We keep on talking about a queen, it automatically places a hierarchy. So what do you do to the women you see as peasants, and or what do you do when a man does not see your woman as a queen?
Okay,
I think that's a part of the issue.
Real quick.
What a hierarchy.
Wait. So I think that there was something. I think there was something really important that you bringing up and that you bringing up when we're talking about it.
I need a drink.
When we're talking, well, here you go.
You gonna take one?
I stopped drinking for a year. I stopped drinking for a year. I need a drink. I need a goddamn drink.
So I think there's something really important. How do we understand who taught us how to have power?
That's a good point. We don't talk about initiation. So if a woman hits a man and he hits her back, I mean, come on now. And let's also talk about the lack of men actually reporting. A lot of men get hands put on them and they never report. So, but again, context don't matter with the conversation with these niggas, bro.
Or how to exercise our power.
Let's address it.
Let's go.
This is what I was saying, guys. Listen, try to hear me. I hate to sound like the grandfather, but I am. Is when you meet a woman who maybe has gone through trauma and has come out of that trauma and has fixed herself in terms of her tone and respect to a man, and she's gentle, she disarms you. But if you don't...
No, she shouldn't disarm you. She should just it should be a situation where you notice that woman can get on your program. Why would it disarm you? That don't make sense.
You never seen that. You don't even know how to react to it. And in the beginning, when I met my girl, I was so mean, and I was tough, and I was all out there, and I was all over the place, and I was disrespectful, and whether it's dopamine or oxytocin, I put all that shit in her face, and I crushed her. this really happened. And I called my partner, and one of my partners was a thug. He said, fix it. My other partner said, when you hurt someone, where you leave them is where they stay. If we talk about being here to trust black women, we cannot trust black women unless every man that I know, and I'm still struggling with.
And I'm also confused on that notion of trust black women. What does that mean? Does that mean like trust them in a relationship that they won't cheat on you? Does that mean, what does that actually mean? I don't think they ever gave a definition of what does this whole notion of trust black women. What does that mean? I would love for somebody to put that in the chat. What does this whole notion of trust black women, what does that mean? Because that can mean a bunch of things.
Being monogamous in the streets, because I'm well known, is we got to start with, I believe, therapy, or at least reading and going into ourselves, holding ourselves accountable, and say, yeah, I fucked up. Because the first thing, what am I calling my buddy? I said, man, she had my phone for you a fucking month. He said, nigga, just don't say you did it.
We gotta meet people where they are. Sometimes I think you're saying reading. Reading is not the only important thing, because a lot of people I'm saying people can read and not really.
Everybody's taking every fucking thing I said. Hold on, bro.
I'm not saying that.
Stop taking the shit that I'm saying out of context, bro.
I'm explaining a concept.
You talking about reading? I'm saying reading is a myriad of shit you got.
All right, but let him.
That's
let him
not
say
what I'm
his
even going
perspective.
to. People read and don't understand what they're reading. You just said that your woman, your black queen, she's a queen to you, and essentially you kind of alluded to the reason that she was a black queen to you was because she was gentle to you and was able to make you feel like, oh, I can open up and feel safe.
That's not what I said.
That's not what you said.
No, I said what I was trying to say. She's held me accountable.
Held you accountable.
And forced me. Man,
you didn't in a soft way that made you able to do it.
Because I'm about to walk the fuck out of here.
We right here with you.
Okay? But I'm saying, in order for us to trust, if this is about fucking trusting black women, then
Again, I don't know what he mean by trust, but I like Clifton Powell. You making yourself look deranged on this show, dog, because you sitting around a bunch of deranged people and they pulling you into that derangement, but you already deranged yourself. This is just bad. This is all bad. Yes, that's a woman. The person with the beard, that's a woman. This is all bad. Yeah, somebody spilled that yak on his suit because he tripping.
you gotta be able to let your woman hold you accountable when you do patriarchal shit.
We agree.
Right.
And
We're not
when you
disagreeing with
come
that.
from the streets, that's almost impossible. Because we grew up, like you said, fuck that bitch. It's just so complicated. And in order for you to grow, even at 50, and I agree with you, you have to take yourself accountable. But when y'all bring me in this motherfucker, I'm living this. The main theme is trusting black women, but how do we get ourselves as men fixed?
What does that mean, bro? I want to know what that means. Trust black women. What does that mean? Trust them to do what? Trust them as far as what? They're not explaining that.
To be able to love them the way they need to be loved.
Well, that's the beauty of this conversation, because we won't get to that. That's the beauty of this exercise that has been created here, and that will continue on because it can't be figured out in this round table. But we
talking about part two.
We are taking the steps.
I got you.
This is one. We are right now, currently, everybody in this room, harmoniously trying to lay this one brick to create more foundation that we can build on to be able to have a place of trust that black women feel like they can come into this space with us, that we will listen and we will sit
And
here
be gentle.
and be but
You know what? I just thought about something. I wonder if they was to have this conversation on the flip side and have the women talk about, because this is a bunch of men basically talking about most men are bad, and we have these terrible thought processes due to patriarchy and how I was raised and all this bad stuff. And this is what we need to do better to be with black women, I guess. Cool. I wonder if the conversation is on the flip side and it was 6, 7, 8 different women on the table. I wonder if the conversation is going to be how much of a victim they are, or the conversation is going to be how they need to do something on the flip side to do better and do right by their men. And I'm almost certain that if they were to hold this conversation with whoever set this up, the conversation is not going to be the same energy that you see here, because what you see here is a lot of I'm wrong, they're right. But if the conversation was reversed and it was a bunch of black women, not saying black women in general, I'm talking about the black women that they would pick to have the conversation is going to be I'm right, they're wrong. I just thought about that.
Be gentle with ourselves, that we don't understand, that I don't understand what's being said, and I think somebody's hearing me wrong, somebody's saying wrong, somebody's talking over me, something's happening to me. These are all things that don't allow women to come and open up to us, because we are ready to play football every goddamn time.
Definitely.
Right now, we gotta, so that's why we gotta have our space to ourselves. A man has to have his space to himself.
It's patriarchal.
Can I ask a question to you?
Yeah.
Whole time these niggas got a woman sitting at the table who got a fake beard and some jeans on, and that's supposed to be the man. Boy,
People are living in broken marriage is not working in this culture. 3 out of 5 marriages end in divorce. So people are living in fear inside of their own homes.
Yes.
So the question I'm asking is for guys who straight from the hood. Is it possible for those guys to sit in here with us and hear us?
Yes.
And
being from the streets, I spent 2 years of my life locked up fighting 2 life sentences. It took a woman, and going back to what you were saying as well about how we as men got to stop relying on women. Women are natural nurturers and providers. It took a woman to show me love to say, this ain't how you do this. And my first mindset, being from the streets, bitch, who are you talking to? That's what I was thinking. But I had to understand, it's 2 parts to that. You either want to be a better person, or you can accept what you think is right.
bro.
okay. I'm glad that he said that. I'm actually glad they're having this conversation. There's one thing for a woman to hold you accountable, and there's another thing for a woman to disrespect you while trying to hold you accountable. So if my woman comes to me and says, look, Aunt, I think that you've been doing some things that's been a problem, and this is the way I feel about it, and this is where I think that you could be better, but this is my issue with the things that you've been doing. I'm willing to listen. For sure, I'm here. Let me talk about it. If you right, you right. I'm willing to take accountability. And if it's something I need to fix, and if it's something that you feel like is a problem, I can fix it. Let's talk about it. But there's another thing that she says, nigga, you a bitch, nigga. Fuck you, nigga, because you ain't ever. Those are 2 different things. So to think in their response, to think that because a black woman holds you accountable, that's the problem, and the issue is that the fact that men just don't want to change, and not the fact that this woman is coming at you disrespectfully or with an attitude, because black men talk about that a lot. We talk about the attitudes of black women, the lack of respect that some black women have, the tonality, the way that they speak to us, but they don't speak to their white bosses that way. That can sometimes be a problem as well. So let's not remove that notion out of the conversation, because that matters too. Now, me personally, I don't deal with black women like that talk to me crazy like that. The black women that I deal with always respect me, always. So the black women that I deal with don't have those issues. But what I'm saying is, if you are dealing with that, then we can't remove that from the conversation. Delivery matters. Exactly. Thank you. And that's just what they don't want to talk about. They're acting as if the black woman can do no wrong, and black woman is always right. And when they do say something to you, it's always with love, care, and respect from a feminine perspective. And if you don't take it right, then that's your fault. Again, context doesn't matter. This is a very one-sided conversation.
And so once she educated me on certain things and said, no, baby, we don't do it like this. You need to go to therapy. You need to do it. It was a lot of things that I felt like I should have been combative about, but I wasn't, because I know I talk to God and say, I need answers. My answers ain't always gonna come through a man.
For sure.
I was taught to believe that it did, because a man should raise a man. But a woman is nurturing and caring, and if she cares about herself, she cares about her counterpart. So it's up to us to listen, to accept. We don't have to agree. 90% of the time, I don't agree. The fact that you can say, I accept, I receive what you're saying, you don't interrupt, you don't defend yourself. These are all.
I got a question. Is that hard for you as a street guy?
It's hard right now.
I get you. I get it. But I'm just making sure everybody get heard. All right.
No, it's not hard.
It is hard. It's hard because as a man, I know what I want to do, but I also know I'm trying to break a system that God is helping me break, because I have to unlearn what I thought was right. And her doing it, and not only that, even going into bed, becoming monogamous. Naturally, it's not instinctually something I want to do. However, I do understand the game of life to know that this is chess and you can't cheat. As a king, which I am, my lock only my key only goes for one lock. I can't unlock every house. So I have to protect my home. As beautiful it is outside, it's the same way inside. So because of that, I can't trick myself out of position thinking that when I'm so focused on this, I'm focused on this.
I used to think like this when I was 16, man. But never this bad. But I used to think like this when I was 16, like 15, 16. I used to think like this. It's crazy.
Kids, my woman, I don't have time to kind of step out and be like, I gotta come on. She ain't always gonna be. It's a distraction. And as a man, I'm trying to win this game of chess. I can't do it, but I need to feel that lust. I need to feel that because I know I'm built to overcome these obstacles that are set in my way to make me go off course.
I have a genuine question for you. Yeah. When you say you don't naturally have an inclination towards monogamy, what does that mean to you? When you say, I want to clarify the question, because you're like wanting to be in a monogamous relationship, that is important to you and for your partner. So when you're out in the streets, what is it that you feel where you're fighting in order to like remain in a monogamous relationship?
So for me personally, I don't put myself in a situation where I don't with it no more. I don't go out to the club. Okay. I don't hang around women. It's discipline. I got discipline, and this discipline is what the reward for being disciplined is the outcome of what makes men so great and what makes men be able to understand. So if I know that there's certain things that's going to put me in those positions,
I'm putting you in that position hypothetically. Sure. But that's what I'm saying. So like when you were out in the clubs and you were presented, what was it that you're like, yo, fuck my girl, I want to be with this girl right now?
Because one, like you said,
yo, this woman's voice is deeper than every man at that table. What is the world coming to? Crazy.
It's the lack of validation that I thought I needed, because the thing that made me feel like a man was that post nut. That post nut made me feel like, it made me feel wanted because it started as a child. As we become adults, we don't understand you grow. The inside of you is always that child seeking that validation, that satisfaction of whatever didn't go right in life. Right. That's what it was for me. So I learned that in therapy. I had to learn to discipline myself. I can't put myself in situations where that natural feeling, because if we only ask these questions when it comes to human race. We don't ask why lions go around fucking. We don't ask why monkeys go around fucking. The man is always allowed to go around and procreate in other animal kingdoms. But when it comes to us, instead of sitting there saying it's like men are dogs, that's all we know. But nobody gets to the bottom of why do men feel this way that they have to go and do this? And maybe that's just their natural being. But as a man, you still have to learn to discipline yourself, and you can't run with it just because that's how you feel. I might feel like killing somebody. That don't mean I won't go to jail. Right. And it's repercussions. So once you understand how to love yourself and understand karma doesn't always come back in the form of a woman cheating on you because you cheated on her. You may have been able to get a position and make more money, or because you cheated, you tricked yourself out of a position that you just didn't know what to come about. So it's necessary.
I don't necessarily agree that there's a natural order to men or women being monogamous or polyamorous or polygamous or whatever. I do think that that's a social construct. Sure. But at the end of the day,
well, you will have to prove it, because socially, it don't have anything to do with a man sleeping with 100 women and getting them all pregnant, and a woman sleeping with 100 men and only one of them gonna get pregnant. So, or only one of them can get her pregnant. So that's not socially, that's biologically. So since you're saying you don't agree, and y'all notice something, when these people don't agree with something that's factually stated or that's biologically stated, they never give any type of reference or any type of actual argument to say this is why I disagree. It's always, well, I feel like that's not true, and then they just go into another point.
It is about the responsibility that you hold when you know you're gonna have sex with somebody. Yes. What's gonna come out of that, right?
Yes.
And
they're worried about feelings. This is why they're having so much trouble with themselves. Modern man of America, man, it's crazy.
And in that, a lot of the time it is children, right? Yeah. And are you going to be able to take care of that child? Are you subjecting another human to some harm? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And in our society right now, we got to think about the danger, especially we in Georgia right now. In my home state, Texas, you got abortion bans. And what does that mean for that woman now to make that decision for herself?
That means close your fucking legs. That's what it means. That means stop sleeping with men. That means hold yourself accountable and tell a man, you're not going to get my body, nor you're going to become a father of my child unless you put a ring on my finger. Notice how that conversation is not being added until that point is not being added to the conversation, because they don't want to hold any type of true leadership, because true leadership is not always everything you do is right, everything I do is wrong. No, that's what they want to uphold leadership to be. Leadership holds everybody accountable, man or woman, and not a gender bias just because. You niggas are lost, man.
Be able to make that decision for herself, to be able to care for herself and that child.
I feel bad for any of these niggas if they have daughters. Their daughters gonna be whores. Yeah, I said it. Their daughters are going to be whores. So if they not already one.
I do want to go back a little bit to when we're thinking about trusting Black women and the origins around the abortion bans and painting Black women as more prone to whatever, like justifying abortion bans by our behavior.
I hate to say it, but I'm for abortions if a woman believes that that's the right thing because it's her body.
Why do you hate to say that? I think that's
I we all was agreeing. The other standpoint of people saying like you're killing something, this thing doesn't have a thought process, and we're going straight to the embryo, the baby, and not worrying about the carrier.
Right.
By thinking like, nah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Everybody's not making a choice of abortion based off of the fact I don't want to do this or I was being irresponsible. Of course,
the majority of abortions are based off I don't want to do this and I don't want to be responsible. The majority of abortions are not because of a health issue or anything like that.
Break that actually, because we in the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
You from Atlanta, I'm from Texas. A lot of the conversation around abortion usually comes from this perspective of Christianity and murder and abortion equaling murder. And
no, sometimes it's just people just don't believe in that. Everything ain't about their own religion.
For me, this being coming from, I got a master's degree in adult and higher education and in human relations, and I learned a lot about how the abolitionist movement got hijacked by the abortion movement. So a lot of them started taking different symbols in history from the abolition of slavery and literally started making Black folks buy into these anti-abortion type shits. Monica was talking about how there was this very popularized notion that the most dangerous place for a Black baby is in the womb. And a lot of folks pick that shit up. So right now, as consciously, and I've been around a lot of other conscious folks, a lot of people still believe that, you know, the biggest threat to Black babies is abortion. And it's like, hey, where that came from. And I think it's important to talk about reading history.
Is it not? Is it not? Is it not? This isn't the 1400s, nigga. It's 2026. Is it not?
It's like, hey, when you do the genealogy and you start connecting the dots, it was a white person that wants your Black ass to still be on the plantation.
Yeah.
And it was a white person that wanted your Black ass to abort their child. Go look up Margaret Sanger. Go look. She was a eugenicist. She wanted Black women to abort their children. What are you talking about? Everything is white people fault. Y'all niggas don't take accountability for nothing. Nothing. Like, it's crazy. And the reason why you even support this stuff is because you're following a white person. But the difference is you don't want to take accountability and say, I'm doing that. Maybe I need to change myself and be a man and stop blaming all my problems on the fact that some white person did this to me. No white person is making you sleep with somebody unprotected. No white person is making you go up to the place and want to mutilate your child. You doing that on your own. You just fall into the indoctrination that the white liberal has said. And that's not to take the accountability off the white conservative, because you ain't no different. You're just on the other side of it.
Or feel like you should never be reminded of that. They the one that gave you this. So a lot of times we think about abortion, especially down south, where it makes a Dixon line. We all
so the white people gave us abortion.
Thinking about it in terms but it's murder. It's like, motherfucker. To me, it's like the down south. There is a disconnect between policy and how we have infrastructure in terms of, okay, the baby out now. I was born on food stamps and HUD. If I didn't have food stamps and HUD, consciously would not be here.
Okay, so the white people gave us, the white people didn't give us abortion. The white people made us not want to support abortion. So where were we supporting abortion before colonization? Where were we supporting abortion? Like answer that question. Like, this is just the most insane conversation I've ever heard in my life.
So in Georgia or Texas, you want to take that away. You're forcing people to have children, and you're not giving them any type of resource or opportunity afterwards.
Right.
I would say that it's not reproductive justice or freedom, but I also would say that's a part of it. And I think that is the part of things that we forget about when it comes talk about abortion. It's like, okay, you want to force people to have children. Well, black women died alarming rates when
Nobody's forcing anybody to have children. Nobody's doing that. It's left up to the states. Nobody's forcing anybody to have children. The same way no one's forcing other people to have sex. The majority of abortions are not because of any type of the majority of abortions are not because of incest or rape. The majority of abortions are because people don't want to take accountability for their actions.
have children. Yes. You gonna force them to have kids? What unique policy or method do you have to account for this unique thing for women being forced to have children and they dying in agglomeration? You don't have that?
Children.
Well, I don't think you're really pro-life then. I think you like pro-birth. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's not necessarily, you don't give a damn. And I think that's what we got to grapple with. Like, hey, do not start thumping that goddamn Bible now.
No. Yeah, it's pro-life when it's about birth, but it's not pro-life when it's about
the care after.
The care after, or let's just take pregnancy out there. It's not pro-life when it's about people living in conditions that allow them to thrive. It's not pro-life when
Okay, so basically your logic is people should die. Your logic is people should die because if they live, they might be poor. So by your logic, then we should just kill all the poor people. Think about that point. Because a lot of times they say, well, shouldn't people abort because they're going to grow up in a place, in an environment that's not safe, or an environment that's where they grow up poor? Well, sorry, but the majority of people worldwide grow up poor. Not even in just America. The majority of people come from third world countries. The majority of people are poor. They grow up poor. They grow up struggling and not having access to stuff. So by that logic, we should kill all of those people. What are you talking about?
And somebody gets shot by police. It's not pro-life. It's all of a sudden, like, so when we say pro-life,
or school shootings, Palestine,
like,
or you know
what do we? I say like pro-life is not about life. Like, what are we talking about? Like,
so wait, we should abort children because you can die in a school shooting. We should abort children because you can grow up in a place like Palestine. What the fuck?
We do that. We understand white people are becoming the minority. Making these laws helps encourage white women to keep having babies so white people can still be white, so white people can still be in power.
No, that's true. Yeah, that's a part of it, sure.
While black women are the most criminalized. It's crazy to me. It's like we have so many policies that's passed throughout this country that is like literally criminalize abortion, which we know, we can say it's a table. All races have abortions, right? We all agree with that, right? We can also acknowledge that black women are disproportionately criminalized for going after said reproductive, you know what I'm saying, freedom and justice. So it's like there's still something unique about black women, and this is why I'm at the table.
Okay, black people specifically are criminalized. That has nothing to do with abortions. That has more so to do with the country that we live in and the way that we look historically. It's not because they're black women. That's specific across black men and women. We are disproportionately criminalized.
I wore a shirt. I wore this shirt. I'm in Houston. I wore a shirt. It say trust black women. A nigga tried to play me and it pissed me off, and it's on my mind right now. So I wanted this. He said, "What about the women that lie? What about the black women that lie?" So I had to just propose it to him like, "Hey fam, if I told you trust all black people, and your response is what about the niggas that lie? Would you see the obvious issue in that?"
No, because niggas be lying. I don't trust all black people. I don't trust all black people. You damn right I don't. Just because you got melanin in your skin, I'm supposed to trust you? No, there's no issue with that. That's called lack of accountability, which is why the male leadership, because niggas like him exist. No, all black people should not be trusted. All black people should not have power. All black people should not have a say-so. There is no egalitarianism. No, you should be trusted because you have a history of being trustworthy. That should be something that you earn based on something that you do or the person that you are, or people can vouch for you to say that you do something productive or something like that. You should not just be trusted because you're a black man or a black woman. I don't care about any of that. So no, that's not an issue with that. But let's see what his point is.
Right.
What do you say?
Kinda. So I was able to be from the doubt. But the fact he said kinda let me know, like, yeah, bro, so you're trying to use the worst example of a woman to say this is why we shouldn't trust women. It's the same exact thing that white folks do. Let me find the worst example of a nigga and say this is why we shouldn't trust niggas. It's like,
no, it's to say that we shouldn't do this all across the board. Just because someone says that doesn't, okay. Because this is crazy. This is completely insanity. It's to say that you're speaking in an absolute and context matters. That's what it's to say. You saying trust all, anything that you say that's all anything, more than likely, depending on what it is, but more than likely is going to be false. Like, you shouldn't trust all black people because all black people are not trustworthy. You shouldn't trust all white people because all white people are not trustworthy. That's not to say there's no white people that can't be trusted. That's not to say that there's no black people that can't be trusted. It's to say that context matters, and none of this is an absolute example, but you're talking as if it is an absolute. So, and I think he made that up. I don't believe anything that he said. I think he made that up. I don't even believe that happened.
If you do that with trust women, you're acting like a white supremacist. You're good. So I want to just put that in there. I somebody even say that.
Luke, can I ask you
White people is they God, boy. I tell you.
a question real quick? So, and I don't mean to put you on the spot. So a lot of what we've been talking about has been like pro-abortion, and sometimes like people who you did acknowledge that you were adopted. Sometimes that's like a very touchy subject with people who are, and like you're somebody, I mean, literally you have a craft to touch so many people.
I've heard that argument too. We should promote abortion because what if a child has to go to be an orphan or be adopted? Like, what?
So I mean, it's something that you know what I'm trying to say. If your mother had chose that, you know, so like, how does that put you in like a weird position of how you view abortion?
Absolutely. Yes, but also.
This nigga can't ever formulate a sentence. I hate being around niggas like this who just can't talk.
I'm still whatever she needs. I'm still that type of person. I mean, obviously I don't want to be aborted, right? But also, I'm not the one having the baby. I'm not the one having this life or death experience. You know what I mean? Yeah. It just is. I watched my girl have my child. It was beautiful, but it was the most scariest shit I've ever experienced in my life to this date. I can't fathom what she was thinking about in this moment as I'm sitting here trying to be supportive, trying to just be present. Trying to, in my mind, decide if I'm gonna watch her or am I not gonna watch her? Am I gonna, all the things, because this once in a lifetime. This is my first child. Do I want to see her or do I want to turn my head? It's like all.
Good point, Marcus. You not having the baby, but you liable for child support. Exactly.
All these, and that's bullshit. Because what it came to was no. I'm be present. Yes. Get out of your head, man. Fuck all that. Be present right here with her right now, with her and your child. Because when she stops breathing, he stops breathing. You understand? So right now, all this is none of what you think about means nothing. Right now is everything about her.
Okay.
Right. So
I also wanna bring in that abortion is about being able to control your body. Like you were saying that earlier, the government shouldn't have any choice in that. It's when we're talking about someone birthing a child. Or not, right? And having that choice to do so. I want to take it back to when we were talking about the accountability around that, the ability to raise that child, the ability to protect your partner, the ability to protect that child doesn't just fall with the partner, and it doesn't just fall with the mama. It's the community and the environment around them to be able to parent somebody. It's the community and healthy resources around them, right? And how are we going to foster that? So when you're forced to have a kid, when you're forced to make a decision that you don't want to necessarily, right?
It's okay to force the man to do stuff though. Like this is the man. We gotta get out of this reaction. I can't wait to be done with this breakdown, man. I can't wait to be done.
You're not able to build the power of that community in the way that it should be. You're setting that it's abusive, right? You're saying that you have to come to whatever, like you said, they trying to cancel federal benefits. They trying to cancel.
Again, that's what's wrong with the black men of America right here. Showing your palms, you weak ass niggas.
Any type of resource to help yourself, you're putting them in a position where they have to have an environment that's not going to be the healthiest, that's not going to build the most power. And so many people are going to have to take up that responsibility and that harm in that society, in that village, in that community. So while it is very much about like you and your partner's decision and who you have sex with, that is a question around discipline and responsibility. I think
gonna lower your
we
testosterone.
disconnected a lot of the time from all of the other people who are going to be affected and can actually foster that strong environment for that kid, or the decision to not have that kid, right?
When you talk about bodily autonomy, because it's, I think when we think about abortion, we're only thinking about, getting rid of a kid.
Right.
Like a lot of times, abortion is necessary to keep the mom from dying, right? And it's because the child is not even viable. And
That's different. I think that's the only difference. Marcus, thank you for the $5 donation. If the government shouldn't be involved in reproductive rights, then they shouldn't be involved in the matters of child support. I agree. They shouldn't be involved in the matters of war either. You know, the draft can still be a thing, and the men that are, I think, is under 27, they go first. I think it's what, 18 to 27 or 18 to 26 or something. So, but you know, they don't believe in body autonomy then.
and that's what the government is trying to control when they say things like a total abortion ban, where in cases of rape, incest, or in cases of extreme, like some health issue where there's going to be an issue or the mom's survival is at risk, then nothing should be allowed. So in that case, then you lose a child and then you lose the mom as well.
Mm-hmm. I've always hated any part of this aspect of this world, of this life, where we got to entertain somebody else's point of view of what I'm gonna do with my body, or what a woman's gonna do with her body to keep herself alive. Right. God brought us here, so naturally I got the right to fight. Yes. So whatever I gotta do, I'm gonna do. But now somebody telling me to live here, you gotta let me tell you.
So if God brought us here, did God not bring all of the babies that were aborted? Did he not bring those people here too? Or were they supposed to be here because God ordained that and y'all said no? Like why is God never mentioned when it comes to that? I'm just curious. They love to pick and choose when they want God to be a part of something.
Whether you can fight or not fight.
They believe in their own God, to be honest. They worship themselves.
Ultimately, but ultimately this entire situation doesn't care if you live or die.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not you. You feel me? Like it will. Let's say we all go along with this shit of like no abortion. All right, you got it. No abortion type shit or whatever. But somebody's going to get abortion if they got enough money, if they got the right skin tone, if they got the right people that love them, right? But black people, it's just like I hate that we got to constantly go through this, entertain this bullshit, because at the end of the day, fuck them. Yeah. You know, I just wish we could get past this stupid shit. Yeah. It's boring.
Another thing I'm sick of too. I'm sick of all of this. People gonna disagree with this, and I don't care because it's very like soft. I'm sick of all of this like hatred towards white people, but then y'all not out there doing nothing. I'm not saying go out there and do anything. Before I say what I'm about to say, I'm not saying go harm white people or go harm anybody. But I'm so sick of you fake outrage, fake warrior niggas. Like you fake like, man, F white people, man. White people this, and we need to go against the white people. Nigga, you at home with your fingers twiddled up like eating Twizzlers. Like you're not gonna do anything. So if you really hate white people so much and you got all this vitriol, then go out there and handle business. Since you so like you go build up a militia, since you're so radical, and go do something about it. I'm not saying you should or you shouldn't. What I'm saying is quit talking about it. All you niggas do is sit around and white people this, white people that. Man, white people suck, man. We hate white people. White people are the worst thing in the world. Okay, cool. What are you gonna do about it? That's my thing. Like, go do something about it. Go outside and go handle your business. You niggas weak. You niggas see white people and you still look down and y'all niggas still complain about sundown towns. It's 2026. You niggas still complaining about sundown towns. They gonna get to me, so I ain't gonna go over theirs. Man, I'll walk anywhere around this country. Ain't an ounce of fear in me. And I'm prepared and ready to go. Do something if you want to. I'll go throughout all them sundown towns and dare one of them to try something. You niggas is scary. All that white talking, you live around all white people, but you hate white people so much. All this white talking, your friends is white, your boss is white. Everything you do, you get around white people, you be cheesing and smiling. I'm not saying you should do anything to white people. I'm not saying you should harm anybody. What I'm saying is I'm sick of you fake radical wannabe militia type of men. Like y'all not gonna do nothing to nobody. You niggas are just talkers, bro. That's the only thing. Like you niggas is weak. That's what I be saying, Todd. Right though. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't gonna do nothing to nobody. So quit talking like that. Stop all that talk.
afford the privacy, you can afford other means. If you're compromising the doctor's decision to make decisions about what to do in during birth, you're compromising the community's decision.
Yes.
You compromising so many people's decision about what to do with their resources and their bodies by compromising this woman's and abusing the power over this woman's decision to do with what she needs to do with her body.
But that upholds, doing that upholds patriarchy.
Yeah.
Which, who said abolition? You were talking about abolition, abolitionist movement. Like I'm about to go in 30 different directions. Bring it back. Bring it back.
We here.
Every civil right that ever existed started with abolition of black people. Because if you free black people, that means you got to free everybody.
Come on.
Right?
Of slavery.
And slavery is more, the abolition of slavery is not just about people working in fields. It is about white men being able to rape black women and to make property to have more slaves.
100.
That is what to be about abolition means, to be about the body autonomy of black women.
Come on.
Period.
Come on.
Period.
Come on.
So, period. And what we're fighting against naturally is that we're all the descendants of survivors.
Yes.
I'm gonna say it again.
Yeah.
We are the descendants of survivors. Self-preservation is in our blood. It's in our DNA.
Yeah.
So to go against self-preservation is technically to be insane.
Absolutely.
Technically. So what we're fighting is, okay, we are a people that are resilient, and our ability to endure is what has kept us going. But that can't quite work anymore if we want what we say we want.
For sure.
So how, I guess my question is, and we're not gonna figure it out right here at this table, right? And understanding that it's a destination. I'm sorry, it's not a destination; it's a journey. Understanding that it's a process. It's a planting a seed under which the tree will never maybe sit. Right, but we eating fruit off of trees that we didn't plant.
Right.
And so how do we keep that going? How do we keep the ball in the air? How do we take this dialogue that we've had here, even the hard parts of it, and go, you know what? 30 days from now, like, he was right. And that's all that matters sometimes, right? It's like, it doesn't matter, like, he could admit in this moment, you know, but okay, I planted the seed. The seed was planted. How do we keep nurturing that? How do we keep this going outside of this, right? Like, and how do we? It's so.
I think we got to make patriarchy look not attractive.
Yes.
I think that right now our community is experiencing a red pill pipeline, a conservative alt-right pipeline that's really, really appealing to a lot of young black boys.
Yeah.
And I think that because they catching these.
All right, real quick. Red pill and conservatism is not the same thing. People have destroyed the term red pill and what it actually truly meant. All red pill meant was the truth, and it came from the movie The Matrix. That's all red pill meant from the jump. So now red pill has turned into what people think red pill is whatever Myron Gaines say on his Fresh and Pit podcast, or somebody that hosts a podcast with 4 or 5 women on the show and just screaming and yelling in their face. That's not red pill. Unfortunately, those dudes who run those podcasts have taken that term and turned that with red pill, like have used red pill under that umbrella. So people have a different meaning of what red pill originally meant. It's almost like how they use the term woke, right? We know that woke was created by Black Americans, that I guess using that term, like not the term itself, but we use that term to make people know that we were aware, right? We were aware of what's going on, the racism, all that stuff. That's all that it meant. But they've turned the alt-right white community, they've turned the term woke into woke means anything that got to do with being a liberal. So LGBTQ, reparations, anything that got to do with that's more so on the left or the Democratic side, that means woke. So that's the same type of thing. And as far as I want to hear going to his point though, because I want to go more into his point, because he said make it unattractive. I want to let him finish his point, but I wanted to get to that red pill thing because that's not he probably don't even know what that means. But yeah, Myron Gaines is a goofy. But let's listen.
In a red pill pipeline, a conservative alt-right pipeline that's really, really appealing to a lot of young black boys.
Yeah.
And I think that because they catching these, you know what I'm saying, boys, say 12, 13, 14, patriarchy and misogyny and sexism, that shit is really like it turned them on.
Yes.
So by the time they get to our age, we seen as some simping, lame ass panderers. So the issue is that we not being intentional in this conversation with how to get them young boys. For sure. Focusing on our career.
For sure.
Them incel niggas. The men that's patriarchs, that's into, you feel me, that's them, they really trying to be intentional about getting the young boys. So I'm thinking about
they agree pushing past the racism.
So he didn't actually make a point. He didn't really actually make a point. He was just saying like, okay, we need to go indoctrinate the 11 and 12 and the 13-year-olds. That's kind of weird. I don't usually talk to children about things, so that's kind of weird that you would want to do that. I don't know, but I'm not surprised. And I don't know how that correlates to. So because you brought up like conservatism, so now we talking about the political side. So it's just anybody that disagrees with me politically. So this is just what? And no, he fine. Thank you. And CEO no. Okay. I read it. Okay, we got it. I appreciate it. How was patriarchy red pill and conservative? There are plenty of liberal societies that were patriarchal. Bro, well, you got to understand that somebody like Consciously, he getting paid by the left anyway. So his thing is to get more people on the left as he can because he want to get more money. So that's his whole thing. So he going to push out, these talking points to get as much money as he possibly can. But I always notice that, like, they sit here and talk about these things about, like, damn, I got the fucking burping hiccups and shit. They sit and talk about all these things about what they disagree with on this side, and then they overuse the term red pill. So if you say something that is actually truthful, like if I say something like, yeah, body count matters. Oh, you red pill, and that makes you red pill. No, I think that body count matters. It doesn't necessarily make me Myron Gaines. That doesn't mean that I'm on a podcast with groups of women on a panel screaming and yelling in their face, kicking them off my show. Like that doesn't mean that I'm the same as that. But if you say anything that's objectively different than what they believe, then that makes you red pill if it doesn't go in the best favor of women. But if I say anything that's not in the best favor of men, they would agree. So red pill doesn't just mean that. But I find it funny even if they want to say that somebody like myself or anybody would be red pill, then tell me what I say is incorrect. And I always offer people to do that. And I noticed that they never do that. Instead of saying like, do you agree, do you disagree emotionally? What did I say that was incorrect about what I said? Like, what did I say that was incorrect? And they never can come up with a logical argument. It's always, well, that's misogyny. That means you hate women. Okay, cool. Let's just go with that. I hate women. Now tell me what I just said that was wrong. Tell me the logical fallacy, the logical fallacy in it. Tell me where it was incorrect. Tell me how, like, no, I was completely just wrong at my statement. Like, tell me where I said 1 + 1 = 55. Tell me that. No, I just don't like that you said it. Okay, then. So you're not really making a point. You're just going off of your emotions.
To get because it's wild because you think like, okay, these people, like you're talking about the alt-right pipeline, a lot of the people that have the podcast and they're the loudest voices right now, mostly cis white men, and they're looking past the racism and they're attracted to the patriarchy because it means power and domination.
What does that mean, real quick? Just because I love that everybody's.
They'll never talk about the patriarchy in Africa. They'll never talk about the patriarchy in Middle East. They'll never talk about the patriarchy in Asian countries. They'll never talk about the patriarchy in any Latin countries either. So I find that funny. It's always about white people, but then when you mention these other countries who didn't have the same colonization that we have over here, then it's not white people no more. Then it's not patriarchy. They just negate all of that. It's funny.
Talking about patriarchy and using the words.
They have patriarchy in Ethiopia. Ethiopia was never colonized, but they don't talk about patriarchy then, even though they still operate under a patriarchy. Crazy.
What does that mean? Because I think what are the alt-right appealing to that makes people? Because they're not saying, hey, come to the patriarchy, everybody. It's great over here. You get what I'm saying?
You want to be a real man. Let me tell you what a real man
is. Powerful, dominate. I'm gonna make more money than you. I'm gonna be able to control, and it's essentially that.
Man of the house, he makes the decisions. The woman sits there and listens. Ain't only two places in the world for a woman: in the kitchen and the bedroom. Type of mindset, that stupid shit.
Okay, you just said that. I've never said that. I always speak on this a lot. Again, they're projecting their own lack of knowledge and their own thought process on everything else. They go to these extreme points. So if you believe that you should be the man of the house, that means your woman should sit there, shut up. She should never have a say so. That means that the only two places that she can go to is the bedroom and the kitchen, and she's a slave and she needs to sit down and be quiet and never see or never speak or talk about anything. That means that you should beat her. That means that you should sexually assault her. And that means that anything that she wants to do, she needs to ask you, including breathing. Like, they go to these super far in extremes where nobody said that.
So I grew around a lot of poor white people, working class white folks, who, when Trump was coming in, I saw this coming a mile away. Because for them, there's a box that everybody gets to check in order to progress. Black people can check a box and progress a little bit. Queer people can check a box and progress a little bit, but there's no box for white people. And you're telling me I have a privilege that I've never seen before. That's their.
You're telling me I progressed.
So it's like, but everyone else is having power. I got to maintain power because it's about power. So how do we either destabilize the ideology around power, or how do we shift?
It's things like this. It's owning our, I guess if you can, our patriarchy and redesigning what that looks like, right? Redesigning, like, say, myself as an artist. I'm a true believer in absolute love. You know what I mean? That's what that's my
nigga, you just gay.
My focus. I'm like Lionel Richie. That's where I get my shit from, right? You know, but I mean, like, I do believe that is my purpose, right? To instill passion and romance and connection. And that's in my way in doing that, rather than a space of whereas I get everybody's story is different. I've got that story too, but the thing I want to celebrate, the thing I would love for someone, a young man, whoever at my age when I first heard D'Angelo, to take from me is that what I took from D'Angelo was love and connection. What is groundedness in spirituality, your indigenous history, just the overwhelming consciousness of your surroundings, your upbringing, chicken grease, and what you grew up in, the feeling of home, or your grandma, and understanding what the devil gives gifts to. You know, all of those things I got from certain beings that showed me a different idea of a man.
Right.
And he was sexualized. Right. Obviously, that's why he disappeared and all of those things, right? But I mean, it's like using your tool, your gift, in order to shift. It's like we can sit and talk about all them dudes doing what they're doing, but they're doing it. Yeah. It's happening right now in real time, and they're gathering motherfuckers as we speak. And those kids, they're speaking to those kids at that age, because those kids at that age are most susceptible, like I was when that music came to me, right? Yes. And they're horny as fuck. Yeah, and you're talking about taking pussy. You're talking about getting it. You're talking about this is how I get it. Yeah. This is how I get out of here. Yeah. You're talking about
taking pussy. Where are you running? Where's like young black kids, young black boys running around rapping about taking sex from a woman? That's what we reverting to now. We reverting to lying. Like, that's something that the rappers are rapping about. Yeah, let's go ahead and rape women. What are you talking about, my nigga? What?
All of the things that enables them to be a dirtbag. Right. And doesn't allow them to have a successful life where love is inside. And so therefore, when they do meet the one, they don't know they met the one. Yes. And then when they do come up to a situation where they're about to be a father, they don't know what the fuck to do. Yeah. And they turn into the wrong motherfuckers and listening to the wrong people, and they're not listening to her. Yes. They don't care. They just see her as the object of holding the nuisance that's holding my baby that didn't get rid of it, or whatever the fuck, you know. So it's like I think it's just more of this and more of us standing on business and what our beliefs are, and that's it.
Yeah.
You want to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, piggybacking off of what everybody's saying, patriarchy is necessary. And the only reason why I said it's necessary is it helps keep their agenda going. After so long, we always start to figure things out. Yeah. But now I got to change the glitch, because if I don't change the glitch, too many people going to catch on to the cycle and start to pivot. And then you're going to start coming together. But as long as I change it and I learn how to change it, me coming out of the music industry, you know, I came up doing what I thought was the way of success for a black man. Until I had started understanding, I started losing in the music game when I started giving a fuck about business, because now I got kids to feed. So it's not making sense that I'm looking good with a diamond chain, bust down, driving a car that ain't even mine. So let's make it make sense so I can start. And that's when I had to really start understanding how purpose worked, because I had to understand these music business and these labels are not driven off of the music that we make. There's called passive and residual income. They're invested in prisons, they're invested in pharmaceuticals. It's necessary that they push and give people like NBA Youngboy the chains and the gleam and the money that they give them, because that's how we get the horny little brothers that we get to start early into going out the wrong way, to where we don't trust black women. Because we're saying, what was that you were saying earlier, what Future say?
I tell the truth to my nigga, I lie to my bitch.
It's not supposed to be like that. We don't understand that these women are gods.
The women are gods. I wonder if y'all have the same logic for the Sexy Reds, for the Cardi B's, for the Meg Thee Stallions, for the City Girls. I wonder if the same logic applies to those women. Don't think so. Why is this thing on my screen?
But it's necessary that they had to set up like this, and that's why I feel like they're doing it in a smooth way of doing it, how they pushing the patriarchy, because it's necessary to keep their agenda going, because it's too late by the time we end up like Clinton, just figuring out. And by that time you be like, damn, I done already lived half my life. Why am I just now figuring this out? But it was necessary to happen to keep the family
Bob, what the fuck you over?
Not let us grow.
I want to play you out. I think this is incredible, and I wish I could have these conversations with y'all every day. But I do think that a large thing with that we can close out and thinking about, because patriarchy, I think the biggest problem is that it centers men as the most powerful thing in existence that should be centered, and it teaches us, I think, the wrong definition of power. And it makes us center decisions that don't factor in the health of women, don't factor in the health of children, don't factor in the health of the community. And it makes us while we're looking at these men that are abusing their power and thinking that that's what power is, we don't realize they're making the whole community less healthy, that they're endangering other people and they're making themselves less powerful. And so I think one thing that we really want to emphasize here is that trust black women is really about trusting the most powerful being. You get what I'm saying? Straight up. Trusting the center of life, the center of power building, the center of care, the center of health, right? We want to make sure that women are able to black women especially are able to make their own decisions about their bodies, and that is what makes our community the healthiest it could be and the most powerful it could be. That's what makes men the most powerful that they can be, right? And when we disconnect our decisions from that, we disconnect ourselves from our power, right? So I think, I've learned from everything that y'all was saying today. Y'all baby got me hyped up, got my pimples on my shit. I was sweating under my pits a little bit for a second. You know what I mean?
But horny.
I learned,
I bet, nigga, you was getting horny and you was getting wet. I bet your pussy was queefing too. We know your whole body was slithering and quivering for another man. I know. I bet.
So much, and I think that this is the most important thing that we could do is have these conversations on a consistent basis where we're holding each other accountable and saying shit like, well,
based on their logic, Quan, getting abortion is power. Yep.
You saying don't be a bitch, what do that mean, right? You know what I'm saying? You saying,
what do you mean by that?
Yeah, what do you mean by that? When you talking about your power, when you talking about the decisions you're making, are you factoring in all of these people? Are you factoring in how it's making us healthier or more powerful in that regard? And listening to folks from all different types of backgrounds and experiences, ages, you know what I'm saying?
All right, that's the end of it. It's only like 30 seconds. I don't want to hear this nigga continue to babble.